Hey, welcome to KocoSports Weekly TNA Review. I am the huge one, Dave Coco from KocoSports.com, KocoSports.com, or KocoSports.net. It's where the world comes to kick ass, your home for combat sports and a ball, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. Joined with me, the American Alucard. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Who's doing the introductions here? Oh, man. My tag team partner, Mr. TNA, the American Alucard. You can find him on any social media network in the universe with the American Alucard. American Alucard, how you doing, brother?
Very, very well.
That's good. Not me, dude. I was completely fine. I think I'm allergic to this podcast. We always say where it's okay to be a passionate fan. We were talking about this off air. Oh, we ask win, loss, or tie. So please in the comments put win, loss, or tie. I'm going to go with what TNA has been consistently squeaking out wins. I don't think these are big wins. I really don't. Like, I think TNA fans are like, oh, it's a great time. I see it as they're the Tampa Bay Rays. They're a small market team on a national level squeaking out wins. Like, I think they do just enough to win every week. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You know, it's better than fucking the alternative or, you know, their main competitor. But I just think it's squeak win, squeak win, squeak win after that. What is your thoughts overall, win, loss, or tie?
Well, I would say it was a win. Like you said, it wasn't a big win, but this really right here, this week, it wasn't a sweet win. Some weeks were sweet wins. These were big. It was just a regular win because you had good storylines, some good characters, and good wrestling. So, you know, to me, it was just, you know, a regular win.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And also a lot of the problems they've had, like in my eyes, I think they fixed. I think this fixed a lot of problems, and we'll get that when we break down. But there's just a little bit of a rant. We always say where it's okay to be a passionate fan, and I'm a little sick, a little under the weather. But dude, reviewing all these shows has really worn on me. Like, it has. It's hard to be a passionate fan because TNA is squeaking out wins. WWE's product is absolutely horrible. So I think next week I'm going to do the pay-per-view. I'm going to do the pay-per-view review and Raw review because I feel obligated to. And then after that, I think I'm just going to do Impacts with you because you're still positive. And I think WWE, I'm just going to, for all the other shows, just do a WWE weekend review. And then, like, start hitting more Japan. So, because, like, I've been, as a wrestling fan, I've been in a rut. And as a podcaster, I've been in a huge rut. You know what I mean? So I kind of want to change up the channel starting after the Monday Night Raw recap. Just because, you know, everything's been in a rut. And, like, we say it's where you can be a passionate fan. But when it comes to WWE, I'm such in a rut. If WWE literally gave me a hand job and a sandwich, I'd be like, this fucking product sucks. And TNA, I'm just like, all right, what do we have here? We have a small company that no one's going to give a chance, and we'll talk about that. And they're squeaking out wins, but the only people that watch the review shows are the ones that absolutely love the product. So it's like, oh, if I badmouth it, it's like we lose a portion of our audience, so what the fuck is the point of reviewing something? But we have you, so I think the only reason I'm keeping the TNA review is because the American Alucard and me are pals. But, yeah, I have to change something up because we always say KocoSports where it's to be a passionate fan. Dude, did you see our fucking WWE pay-per-view preview? That did not sound like passionate fans at all. So starting after Monday Night Raw, I think I still want to do one show a day just because YouTube is kind of like working out in one way. American Alucard can tell you this. If you stop doing it, it's hard as hell to get going again. Like, have you gone like a week or 2 weeks without doing YouTube, and then you come back and you're like, what the fuck am I doing here?
No, I think that's where I had to take like a week and a half off.
Yeah, I don't know. If I take a week and a half off, I might never return. So let's break down TNA. Starting next week after Monday Night Raw, this schedule on this channel will change a lot. And I'm going to probably start covering stuff that I actually enjoy because when it first started out, you know, we were actually allowed to market our shows. Now, YouTube has changed that. So now I'm going to just fucking do whatever I like because they get as many views as fucking the shit Raw show does. All right, so let's break this down. I say Squeak win. Rob was supposed to join us, and Rob is someone who gave up on TNA, doesn't watch TNA, but likes women's wrestling. And Rob, halfway through, said, fuck it, I'm done. I think he was expecting the night of knockouts to be a night of knockouts. And I think this is one thing that a lot of people feel pissed off about is that a lot of women wrestling fans, such as Rob, another co-host that we have, wanted to give it a shot. The first thing you see on the night of knockouts is Kurt Angle. The last thing you see is Kurt Angle. There's probably just as many matches. So he's like, this ain't a night of knockouts. So what do you think about that? That they advertised it as the night of knockouts, and the knockouts, there was a lot more of knockouts, but it did not seem like a night of knockouts. What do you think about that critique from Rob and fans of women wrestling that gave this company a shot?
Well, me and T-Sean had a discussion about this, and you can't really say it wasn't a night of knockout because they made each one of the knockout segments feel important. And even when you say the Kurt Angle thing, Kurt Angle was made to feel on this show like a secondary player. He didn't defend his title. He was just in a segment, and his segments were shorter than the knockouts. You had this was more about the dollhouse than anything else in Terrence Rail.
Yeah, I can see that point. I just, people that are giving Impact the chance and they were expecting a night of women's might be a little bit disappointed. But to me, I'm just like, did you really? I just say to those people, like Rob, did you really think they were going to give the women a whole event? I just didn't buy into it. And when I heard, I was kind of let down when it was, because it's a little bit of false advertising. I know you're pro TNA, but you're like, oh, and women's not, oh, here's Austin Aries, here's Eric Young, here, you know what I mean? So I could see their point of being a little disappointed. I just knew from advertising that it wasn't, because they were like, oh, night of knockouts and a championship match for the men. So I don't know. I find it to be a bit interesting. I just kind of knew ahead of time, but I could see why people would be upset about that.
It lays groundwork for them to continue this next year, because we know the TNA knockouts there aren't what they used to be. I'm saying like talent wise, I'm saying like as far as size wise, and they're trying to grow that. So they start this year where it's kind of a night of knockouts, but then next year when they grow the knockout division a little bit more, they can have a full night of knockouts. So it's a great base for, hopefully they continue this later on next year.
All right, so let's break this down. We have Aries comes out. Well, first Kurt Angle comes out. Eric Young comes out. They're going to say, hey, look, we're going to get the old school Eric Young back. We're going to get the respectable pro wrestling Eric Young out. And, Kurt Angle's going to turn him around, give him his title shot. And Austin Aries says, not so fast, my fellow friend. I'm paraphrasing here. That might have been Lee Corso. But he says he's going to cash in his briefcase for the title tonight. And Eric Young is like, this is some bullshit. And that's how it basically starts off. What would you think of this opening segment?
Well, it showed that, Eric Young, he's still that same, kind of likable guy, even though it is things that drive him off of the edge. Because, last week he could have attacked Kurt Angle, but he said, know what? I don't have to. I can, wait until that time or whatever. And his tipping point was, like he always said, he's always getting pushed. He's always getting looked down upon. And this time, who does it? Austin Aries. Austin Aries being cocky, saying that I pushed the bar, blah, 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 push Eric Young out of the way. And what does that do? That snaps Eric Young back into the psychotic state, which Kurt Angle had kind of pulled him away from.
I think this angle right here, I was a little disappointed. I'm not going to, we'll go in order. I'm just telling you how I felt in this segment. I felt a little disappointment in the beginning of the show, but I think they turned it around. Like, I think when I saw this, I was like, really? Get the fuck out of here. But I think TNA, and this is just me trying to think how they're thinking, I think that's the reaction TNA wanted, because I think as the show went along, I think it made Eric Young a better character, and I think it made it a better story. Because I think this story, in my opinion, was weak. I think the title picture was weak. I think there was a feeling among super fans that Kurt Angle is just the chosen one from the network. There's really no storyline. But I think this episode, even though the opening segment, I was like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, this is bad. As the show went along, I was like, oh, I now care about this feud. So I think maybe they set, and this is just me feeling as a fan, thinking what they want me to think, I think they sacrificed the opening segment to save the feud. Do you have that feeling, or do you think I'm just fucking nuts?
I don't know, because I'm a big fan of Eric Young's heel character, so I was already into the feud because Kurt Angle, no, not Kurt Angle, but Eric Young had said Kurt Angle, he's a vulnerable champion, especially in Eric Young's mental state. Kurt Angle, he's very fragile at the moment, but he's still a good wrestler. But he's going to be in this feud with Eric Young, who could snap at any moment and hurt Kurt Angle's neck with a pile driver, or that they've really been trying to get over that in figure four. I mean, they really tried to focus on the figure four. And Kurt Angle, bad knees, he's a target for somebody like Eric Young.
Yeah. All right. I just did not have that same feeling. I understand what you're saying now, and as the show goes on, I got that feeling. But at this moment of this segment, I was just like, what the fuck is this? And maybe they were sacrificing that open segment to make the story the way you feel. Taryn Terrell says, she's prepared to face an opponent like Kong, and then she'll retain her title. I think this is where she made it a hardcore title.
No, she made a hardcore title like during the match.
Oh, okay. So then you get the number one contenders match, which, if it's a night of knockouts, I'm glad it's the first match, but I kind of wish it was the first segment. Like, bam, you see the knockouts right away, then Kurt Angle, but that's just nitpicking. That I'm not saying.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It would have been better. Okay. Yeah.
You got number one contender match. You got Gail Kim, Angelina Love, Brooke, Madison Rayne. All of them beautiful women. All of them decent to good wrestlers with some legendary wrestlers. Gail Kim, I think, is one of the best. I was expecting more, but I was still happy with it. You know what I mean? Brooke wins. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the way Brooke looks. I think she's better than average female wrestler for a national company. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, oh, she's just, oh, look at me. I'm Brooke. It's kind of like I wasn't feeling it. I enjoyed the match, but with Gail Kim, Angelina Love, Madison Rayne, and even Brooke, I thought the weakest link won. But Josh, who some people are really turning their back on Josh, I thought Josh did a great job selling that. I thought Brooke was definitely the weakest link in the match. Brooke wins, and Josh, I think, did a great job. A lot of people are shitting on Josh. I think he's doing pretty goddamn well, because going solo is really hard, doing commentary. Not many people can do it. And I think he's doing well, but I look online, and even the most loyal TNA fans are pissed off at Josh. But overall, I think I might have hyped this matchup in my head a little too much. I really did enjoy the match. I was kind of disappointed that Brooke won, but at the same time, I think Josh took away that disappointment with just telling a great story, respecting the three women that she beat. So, yeah, overall, what did you think of the opening match?
I like what was done in the match, especially like the Beautiful People semi-reunion, because the way they were wrestling as far as a tandem. They're putting off good moves, but then the jealousy, that's sort of like built between them, it broke them apart. So like it shows that the Beautiful People, they can come together, but it's not like a long-term thing, because both of them are out for themselves, greedy bitch type of heels. And then I think a little bit of Dave Richards is rubbing off on Angelina Love. She had a fucking jumping heel kick. I've been watching her career. I don't think she's ever hit like a jumping heel kick. So Dave Richards, keep her in the MMA gym. Hopefully hopefully. I mean, that would be something new to her character because her wrestling style is not bad, but anything new will be better than nothing, right?
I definitely agree. And so, yeah. So overall, and you're happy that Brooke won?
It's for what happened later on. It's a fresh matchup or whatever. So you can't be mad at that.
The Rise, it says this ends with the BDC falling while the Rising rises. I think the honeymoon is over. All right. For me, the honeymoon is over. I don't give a fuck about the Rising. Like, at one time, I'm like, this is interesting. It might work. It's interesting. I think what it doesn't work for me is you're challenging the BDC. It's like, yeah, I fucking hate when people are just handed stuff. And it's like, you're a WWE guy that was just handed this because you were a WWE guy. You know what I mean? Like, MVP busted his ass in the Indies. MVP went around the world. Low-key busted his ass, ran around the world. It's kind of like, if it was in reverse, the storyline makes sense. But you have a WWE guy, some relatives of famous people going, yeah, we're going to change wrestling. And I'm like, I understand. I agree with what you're saying. I just, what? The BDC, that's who you're going after? All right.
Well, it'd be like, I think it's more of the Rising. They don't have the look. Like that's why they lose my interest, because the BDC, they have the look down. They look like a 1990s New York street gang. They got the swagger down. They dress cool, a beat down clan. The Rising, it started off cool with Drew Galloway coming through the stands and talking with the people. And they're supposed to be like a 99%. Yeah, 99%. What were those people who marched on Wall Street?
Occupy.
That would be like an Occupy Wall Street type of thing. But now you have Drew Galloway coming out in basketball shorts through the ring. He should be pulling a Roman Reigns coming out. They should be pulling Roman Reigns coming out through the crowd with the people. Yeah, these are the people. We're the Rising. We're wearing hoodies and masks. We don't give a fuck about anything. And they just come out just like everybody else. So it loses their.
I just wish maybe if the feud was EC3, if the feud was with, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like, you know what it is? Know what this reminds me of? I'm going to use a baseball terminology, and I apologize for anyone that doesn't know baseball. I'll try to break it down. It's when a Red Sox fan complains about the Yankees spending too much money. That's what it feels like. It's like, dude, just shut the fuck up. Like, yeah, fucking wrestling fans. And I don't know. I just think the fact that it's going against the BDC is kind of fucking crazy. Yeah, that leads to a grudge match. You got the BDC versus Micah and the Ryzen. It's cool to see someone new, see how they're moving along. MVP teases that he's going to do it. But nope. Play the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out music. Here comes Glass Joe. Micah defeats Kenny King. And it's just one of those things. It's like, we could get behind the Beatdown Clan. The wrestlers are amazing. They're great talkers. They're people that traveled around the world. They could be, let's be honest. MVP saw the Bullet Club and said, I could do this here. They could be TNA's Bullet Club. They really could. Here's the thing. Not if you put everyone fucking over. It's like being fucking Glass Joe in a Bullet Club shirt. That's what the fuck this is. And poor Kenny King is probably one of the most talented wrestlers on the roster. Always looking like a fucking idiot. Always. It's just... Let's put it this way. Barry Horowitz just text messaged me and told me, Kenny King, it's a bit much. They're like, it's a bit much, bro. It's a bit much. Mika does... Go ahead.
Would you say, like... I know Kenny King loses a lot, and I relate that too, but when Kenny King loses, doesn't don't the Beatdown Clan always get the last laugh by beating up the guy or having an after-match beatdown? Don't they always get that last laugh?
But then like they get fucked over. Like, here's an example. This is how the storyline's going. I haven't read spoilers, but I'm going off just how they fucking do the Beatdown Clan. You ready? This is exactly how they've been doing the Beatdown Clan for a while now. Kenny King loses first, then Low Key loses, Then MVP has his back against the wall. Then MVP loses. Then you need 4 friends or 3 friends to face them, and then you and your friends beat them. That it's like where if Kenny King lost, then low key got a revenge, and then MVP, and again, you know what I mean? It's like they're a house of fucking dominoes. It's like playing Double Dragon on super easy mode. You know, MVP is Obobo, and the rest are just fucking random dudes you knock the fuck out, and then on level 2 you got to fight Obobo and those random dudes. No, fucking no. This is not. This is like, I don't know. It's like a level 1 of a beat 'em up game. You know, you remember those? Yeah, they still make them, but they're not as popular. But when we grew up, there was the Ninja Turtles, Double Dragon. What do they call them up? What do they call them? Beat 'em ups, side scrolling. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like a beat 'em up game. All right, here comes Foot Soldier number 1, Kenny King. Here comes Foot Soldier number 2. It's end of level 1. I gotta fight Rocksteady. I'll just keep doing a fucking flip kick. I beat Rocksteady. Oh, I gotta beat Rocksteady and Foot Soldiers in level 2? Oh, it's too strong. Oh, it's just, I don't know. And I think the fact that the BDC is Bray Wyatt looks like. Bray Wyatt's like, man, I wish the BDC would get a push. You know what I mean? It's just, they're everything pro wrestling fans like, except they're always losing to sports entertainment fans. So we might as well be watching WWE. You know what I mean? I just don't fucking see it. And, they try to recreate it, but they don't. They never do. The BDC will be awesome next week. No, they're not. The BDC will be awesome. No, they're not. And it's always the same. I haven't read spoilers, but I bet you 101 fucking yen. I almost said dollars, but I'm a poor son of a bitch. 101 yen. I bet you 101 yen. That comes out to like $1 or something. I bet you 101 yen they beat fucking Low Key or Homicide next easily.
Yeah, I wouldn't make that bet.
It's fucking worthless. And then here's the thing: I could easily get behind the BDC. Easily. I like MVP. I saw him on Florida Indies. Florida, if you grew up in Florida, not if you grew up, but, if you lived in Florida when MVP got signed, everyone hated MVP when it first came out, except people in Florida. People in Florida that's our guy. Yeah, MVP. And then he started getting over. Then he went to New Japan. And people love MVP. People can get behind MVP. People can get behind Low Key. People love Homicide. People love Kenny King. Let's put it this way. Who the fuck would buy a Beatdown Clan shirt now?
A lot of that whole thing was filled with people buying Beatdown Clan t-shirts.
Well, I don't know. I
they're
don't
over.
Fucking
Beatdown
get
Clan is over.
They're over minus creative. They're over because all 4 athletes are respectable athletes. All 4 athletes are guys we want to root for. All 4 athletes traveled the world and busted their ass. If anyone should be talking like the Ryzen, it should be the Beatdown Clan. I made a mistake. I said it's a Red Sox fan, and the Red Sox are the 2nd richest baseball team complaining about the Yankees. No, that's not fair. It is literally the Red Sox fans complaining about the Rays. Can you believe they actually found good players with no money? I'm here for the people. And you're just like, no, you're not. Stop. It's just, no. Stop. It's bad. It's not good. And it could be good. Are you
surprised? Are you surprised at how the Beatdown Clan, how good they're getting over the crowd, though?
No, because you put 4 pro wrestling, internet, whatever you want to call them, darlings together, and people are just wanting. Not that, but all right, what's over no matter what? All right, let's look pro wrestling fans, because WWE fans ain't gonna give anything a chance. What's over right now?
Bullet Club.
Bullet Club, dude. There's people on YouTube right now wearing a Bullet Club shirt, reviewing WWE, and have no idea. They can't name 4 members of Bullet Club. Bullet Club is more over than the wrestlers. All right, so you have the Bullet Club. People are falling in love with the Bullet Club. You have pro wrestling fans that were like, yes, we want to have pro wrestling. Then you have TNA TNA fans, but I don't want to knock TNA fans, but majority of TNA fans are people that didn't go farther down the rabbit hole but hate WWE. So everyone, every aspect, everyone loves these 4 athletes. They love the BDC. And creative because they have nothing but former WWE guys in creative, hence the problem. You have a bunch of former WWE guys in fucking creative going, oh, yeah. Who gives a shit if they sell merchandise? Who cares? Because it's so funny because, like, WWE is such fucking poison right now that it's even poisoning TNA. Because, dude, how the fuck do you not push the Beatdown Clan? And it's just, I don't have, it's one of those things like, yeah, all right, these are our guys, but they're going to fucking lose. You know how I feel about the Beatdown Clan? I feel the same way I feel about the Buccaneers. I'm like, yeah, I'm rooting for you, but you're not fucking winning. You're not fucking winning. That's the Beatdown Clan is my beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do I love the Buccaneers? Without a doubt. Will I root for the Buccaneers? Without a doubt. Will I fucking take my lumps when people are like, ha, 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 you're a Buccaneers fan, fucking loser? Of course, that's part of being a Buccaneers fan. But when push comes to shove, they're not going to fucking win. They're just not going to win anytime soon. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what the Beatdown Clan is.
I would say, yes.
But behind them, they're not fucking winning anything ever. And it's because you have WWE Creative. You have WWE Creative. That's the fucking problem. You're like, what sucks about WWE? Well, the athletes are good. The production is great. What sucks? Oh, that's right. Creative. Dear TNA, who's part of your creative? Oh, we got all WWE guys.
Well,
excuse me while I fucking hang myself.
Next week, the Beatdown. I'm not gonna say anything, but
no spoilers, sir. But you know what? If the Beatdown Clan starts fucking winning, that'd be great.
Yeah,
but you know what? Well, the number 1 draft pick, they are the Buccaneers. Homicide was their number 1 draft pick. And we're like, man, hopefully Homicide can play quarterback and turn this goddamn team around. But they're still gonna fucking lose. They're still gonna fucking lose. And it's hard. It's hard to fucking. And not but then you have the Rising saying everything we say. They literally are like, all right, we're going to listen to YouTubers. What do they complain about? Got it. All right. And then they're just going to be like, you see those guys that you absolutely love? I'm repeating what you say about them, about us. And then you're just like, fuck my life, man. Just fuck my life. I don't know. But maybe I think they need more young bucks, you know, like, because MVP is pretty funny on fucking Twitter. I mean, I just wish they'd just be themselves. They're angry, bitter fucking guys that been fucked over. Dude, if anything wrestling fans could get behind is that. They don't want to hear a fucking 3MB guy go, hey, man, times are tough. Look, I got fucking Haku's fucking son and fucking Jared King Lawler's fucking cousin. Man, doesn't it suck when WWE just fucking brings in relatives? Yeah, that sucks. And it sucked at TNA when they just fucking randomly give a push to a WWE guy for no fucking reason. That's gotta suck. And you're just like, are they fucking with us, bro? Are they fucking with us right now? I don't know. It's kind of depressing. But after the match, MVP and low-key attack. Mika, Galloway, and Drake come to make the save. Homicide comes out because he's the number 1 draft pick for the Buccaneers. And then he hits, low-key hits Galloway in the stomach with a pipe. And I'm sure low-key was like, motherfucker, I remember Europe. I remember Europe. So overall, just, I want to cheer for BDC. I want to. Fuck, man. Just fire everyone in creative at every fucking level. Because you just don't fucking get it. You have a WWE guy saying, yeah, right, stand up with me. I'm going to beat up all your favorites. Don't you love me? I don't know. It's like an insane girlfriend. I fucking killed your dog so you can stop loving it. Don't you love me more? No, Susie. No, I don't love you more. This is fucking crazy. Now, my favorite part of the night, because we got to see Mia Yim. I'm a huge Mia Yim fan. I fell in love with her as soon as I saw that Combat Zone wrestling match. She fought a man in Combat Zone. I apologize, I can't remember the man's name. And it was just absolutely amazing. So I've been a huge Mia Yim fan. I think she holds a title in the WWN. If not, she did. WWN Women's. What is the WWN one? Is it Shine? I think she might be the Shine champ or was the Shine champ. I apologize for my lack of knowledge. But I was really excited about this. I was super excited just because it's Mia Yim. At first, though, I had a change of heart here. At first, I was like, man, fuck, it sucks that they're giving Mia Yim a gimmick. Because I'm like, can't she just be Mia Yim? We fucking love her. You know what I mean? At least I do. I don't know if you love Mia Yim as much as I do. But then they gave go ahead.
I like Mia Yim. Yeah. But the one knock against her, I would say, is I said this before in another review. Like, she's a saltine cracker. But not just like any saltine cracker. She's a fancy, well-made, with all the natural, decent grains and whatever, saltine cracker. And this character that TNA gave her, it adds something to the saltine. The saltine is already good and decent, but who eats a saltine cracker without some type of topping? The character.
straight up. I know you're making a point, but straight up, I do. Go on.
The medium character or the Jade character, I was a little hesitant on it because I was like, is it going to be like a Beautiful People rip off, or it's something different? It's supposed, I guess, childlike, psychotic type of people or whatever. But a character for Mia Yim is not that bad of a thing, especially like for one match. We got to see where they take it and where it goes. So.
Well, and this is at first I was the saltine cracker. I'm like, motherfucker, I want the saltine cracker, you know? And then they gave her a gimmick, and I was like, man, what the fuck? Why are you giving my saltine cracker? Why are you putting toppings on it, bitch? I just want the goddamn cracker. But with that said, last week's promo of all the women, that was horrible. And I was like, oh, we don't need I'm just a woman. We need actual gimmicks. You know what I mean? So I was anti-gimmick until I saw that promo. And I'm like, oh, these women need some goddamn gimmicks, because it was like, I'm Gail Kim, respect me. I'm Angelina Love, respect me. The rest of the roster is like, I'm a woman, and, women are great, right? You guys love it. Feminist, equal rights. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. And I was like, holy fuck, the whole roster is nothing but that. So when that moment, I was like, all right, Mia Yim has a gimmick. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. I'm shocked by how much fucking hate on the internet these two got. Really, is like, it just shows you that there's not many pro wrestling fans out there. Because, like, no one knew who Mia Yim was, a majority of the social media networks, and all of them were like, oh, this woman sucks. And I'm like, if you think Mia Yim sucks, you just don't know who it is. Yeah, like, I got sad a little bit. I really did. And trust me, I'm not an expert in the field of women in real life or in pro wrestling. And there are people like the American Alicorn knows more about women wrestling than I do. Rob knows more about women wrestling than I do. We have a lot of people in the internet industry that know more about women wrestling than I do. But I still know who some of the best women in the world are. And I was just shocked by when I went to Facebook, when I went to, the social media networks, people going, who the fuck is this? She sucks. I don't fucking know. That to me, that was a little depressing. I actually enjoyed it. I thought for Mia Yim, and we'll talk about this throughout the night, Mia Yim, from what I've saw of her, is stiff as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if she's afraid because she's on a big stage. I don't know if she's afraid to injure someone. This looked like Mia Yim going, I better not hurt anyone on my first day. Did it not feel that way during these matches, if you've seen Mia Yim?
It kind of did, but then I got to see another match because she's supposed to be this awkward-ass character, this awkward psychopath. So I want to see the next match she has and see if she still has the same kind of style.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, one thing they complain about this, and I disagree, but I try to bring up devil's advocate here, is that, oh, we're tired of seeing the psycho girls. And to me, I'm like, no, they don't. No one pulls it off good. I mean, Mickey James to me was the last decent Psycho. I think maybe I'm just blinded by my love for Mia Yim, but I thought they pulled it off pretty good. And after the match, what you're looking at there on our screen capture or photo, I don't fucking know what the technology is called these days. Afterwards, they get disqualification because Mia Yim's partner, I'm sure she wants to be called Marty Bell. Marty Bell crushes the ref. The ref looked a little retarded. Like, why is he still there? But let's look past the refs mess up.
Let's not skip over Cherry Bomb. What did you think of her performance in the match?
I thought it was too short to give an honest feedback. Yeah. I thought the match was too short. But me personally, I was shocked Cherry Bomb was getting. I don't know. I just thought Mia Yim was going to be accepted, but you never know because like the beautiful people getting back together. I thought that was going to be a huge pop. I thought people were going to go crazy for Mia Yim. I'm like, in me at my household, I was like, fucking Mia Yim, Combat Zone Wrestling. She's in TNA. And then there was Cherry Bomb chants. I was like, what the fuck? All right. Yeah, I just thought the match was too short. I didn't see anything wrong with her, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was shocked that people were cheering for her and not the Dollhouse. That's just me. You know what I mean?
But also, is it a shot to see Mia Yim playing this sort of weirded out psycho heel? Like I'm rewatching the match, and she just did like I think like a Northern Light slam, and then she started doing like a kid, the whole knocking on the ring. Is it weird seeing Mia Yim do these type of things, and people have to get used to it?
I'll be honest with you, I don't think no one knows who Mia Yim is. I think pro wrestling fans know what Mia Yim is, and then that's it. And I think that's the real problem. And
but then
I think the character helps, and we'll talk about it in the future why it helps. Because in the main event but the last women's match, it really helps. It helps move along the story. But I think it's one of those. I was mad that Mia Yim wasn't a saltine cracker, but context is everything. But when I saw all the other women are just fucking crackers, I was like, oh, well, at least she'll have a gimmick and she can back it up in the ring. So I was okay with that. And then afterwards, this is the part that really I fucking love. I shit on Christy Hemme a lot. I think she's the highest paid woman on the roster, not named Dixie Carter, and I find that to be fucking ridiculous. Like every time people are like, if you own TNA, because we get these questions, like, if you own TNA, if you turned around TNA, if you did this with TNA, whenever I get one of those questions, I always say I'd fire her. Without a doubt. She's one of the highest paid people, and she's just not worthy of it. I think, like, if someone said, hey, you're in charge of TNA right now, bring, Christy Hemme, you're fired.
Christy Hemme, she's one of the reasons that Mia Yim got hired. She's, like, in charge of Knockout.
I know, and that's why I'm going to man up and say I was wrong. I'm going to man up and say I'm wrong because, A, she got Mia Yim her job. B, slowly but surely the knockouts are fucking looking respectable. But C, why I was wrong and maybe she's worth the money. I know it was fucking maybe a stage punch, a stunt punch, but when they both punched her in the face, that was amazing. That was like one of the best fucking punches I've seen on a woman in a while, and she sold it, and I don't know, it brought joy to my heart. And I never thought, because that was either a bit, I don't know, it was one of those things you're like, did they really hit her? And that's what I love when you question. Like in pro wrestling, everyone has to be the smartest guy in the room. I think that's a fault. Everyone has to be the smartest guy in the room. Everyone's, I love when you're not sure. And I thought this punch, it was slow, but, it really hit her in the mouth. You know what I mean? And she sold it like a drunk bitch getting knocked the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, damn, you brought Mia Yim here, and you just made a punch. And it was one of those things, it was at the perfect pro wrestling level. Because what I mean by that is you're like, did that really happen? No. Really? Yeah. You know what I mean? And her being beautiful and, let's call it as it is. a lot of her job has to do with her looks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But she also does a lot of backstage stuff too. And really, sometimes I forget Christy Hemme works there.
Yeah. Well, here's my problem. When she makes more than a lot of the other knockouts, that's when I step in and be like, yeah, what? No.
Well,
No.
I see the point, but she does more than a lot of the knockouts as far as backstage stuff. So, like, an executive is going to make more than a wrestler. That'll be like saying, oh, John, no, I'm trying to hold. Dolph Ziggler, I'm mad that Dolph Ziggler doesn't make as much as John Laurinaitis. Oh, he's not supposed to make as much as John Laurinaitis.
Yeah. All right. You bring it up. But I just want to bring it. I was wrong, and I enjoyed her getting punched in the face. And it was one of those things where you just question, like, did they really punch her in the face? And it wasn't like a stiff shot. It was just enough to fucking let your imagination run wild. And I enjoyed it. I haven't seen a punch in pro wrestling that I enjoyed for a while. Obviously they didn't knock her the fuck out because I'm pretty sure they could have. You know what I mean? But yeah. It was done really well, and I enjoyed it. And I was like, whoa. It was one of those moments that you had to rewind and be like, whoa, what just fucking happened? And I enjoy that. I wish pro wrestling had more of that. Because I think ECW pushed that envelope back in the day, and I think New Japan pushes that envelope today. Where sometimes you're just like, whoa, that bitch just get punched in the face. You know what I mean? So, next. But I enjoyed it a lot. I'm a little heartbroken. Just the same way when I don't know, you've been watching TNA for a while, but remember when Beautiful People reunited for the first time in a real long time recently?
You know, the Velvet Sky and Angela Love Virgin?
Yeah. I was a little heartbroken that no one gave a shit about that. I think when it comes to Mia Yim, I'm a little heartbroken. I'm being honest. A lot of people would fucking just not be honest. I'm a little heartbroken that she didn't get over more. That's just me. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think it's going to take time for the Dollhouse to get over because they got, people take time. It takes people time to get used to heels, and especially with their leader. It's going to take time for the people to come around, especially with the weird things that they do as far as mannerisms. It's going to take they're going to get over, but it's a process.
All right, let's go to some live comments before we go to Mickie James' retirement. That will be the next segment that we do. All right, boom. American a la carte, you can't tweet me beautiful pictures of Kana during the show and not think I'm going to be distracted. Oh, man. That'd break my heart, dude. If Kana gets the reaction that Mia Yim got, if she ever shows up to TNA, I would just flip out and I have tears in my eyes. Like, remember that leave Brittany, whoa, there's a lot of comments. Thank you. I didn't expect so many comments. Much love. And all the comments disappear. Come on, dude. Don't do this to me.
If Kana came to TNA, she probably would get the same reaction, but over time, because she's a hell of a wrestler, one of the greatest women's wrestler on the face of the planet, she would get over. Like, I would say in less than a month, she would get over just by having awesome matches.
All I know is if Kana shows up to TNA and people give her the same treatment they gave the Beautiful People Reunited or Mia Yim's opening match, I have tears in my eyes. Like, remember Leave Brittany Alone? Yeah. I have tears in my eyes yelling like that guy. Like, you don't even know anything. Why do you hate something so beautiful?
Kana would probably get that for one match. Just like one. She would get that for the opening when she came out. But then, like, when she started kicking women's heads off, they'd be like, oh. Okay, and then they'll start clapping.
All right, we got a lot of live comments. This surprised me. Thank you, Tina. I've been in a little funk lately, so the live comments kind of picked up my spirits a little bit. LB Clash of Kings. I prefer psycho creepy girls over overrated supermodel gimmicks for wrestlers. Yeah, as long as it ain't one of too many. But yeah, I definitely, like right now the supermodel gimmicks. I thought last week they exposed that the knockouts really have no character or personalities. But I think they're trying to solve that problem. LB Clash of Kings says, I'm kind of 50-50 on TNA signing XWE talents because its talent was just in developmental and I think it'll be okay. WWE wasn't going to use them. Yeah, I know that, but if they repackage them, like, this is always a topic that comes up. I think if they become their own, because I think Bully Ray, Christian, EC3, obviously. We'll get to the EC3, trust me. like guys like that are amazing, but there are a few in between. Usually a WWE guy's like, so that's just me. I like being
not too creative. If like they can take anybody from either company because they're all wrestlers. They got to work no matter the company. It's about what the company can do for the character. They could take Dolph Ziggler from WWE. He could come to TNA. He can't be Dolph Ziggler. They would have to completely repackage how we see Dolph Ziggler to make it work in TNA.
Now, this is an interesting question, and I'm making it up. First time caller here. Dolph Ziggler, I don't know if it's, they're working you, brother, because I don't give a shit. Like, usually to be worked, you have to give a shit. Like, have you ever been with a con man and you just don't give a shit what they're saying? That's what I feel like with WWE. They're like, they're working you. No, I just don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Nothing. And if you are a con man, dude, nothing's harder to con someone that doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like next. But here it is. Dolph Ziggler right now is on Twitter, shoot, not shoot, kayfabe, who gives a shit, complaining about how WWE sucks. He's been outspoken. A lot of WWE fans love Dolph Ziggler. A lot of WWE fans hate TNA and shit on TNA when WWE guys get there. What do you think the reaction would be if Dolph Ziggler leaves WWE, shows up in TNA? Do you think they turn their back on him? And I'm not saying everyone. Obviously, pro wrestling fans are going to shit their pants. I'm going to shit my pants. But do you think the WWE fans who blindly follow WWE, want Daniel Bryan's, that majority of fans, do you think they turn their back on Dolph Ziggler? Because a lot of WWE fans turn their back on Jeff Hardy. Because me, Dolph Ziggler shows up, I'm just like, it puts life in TNA, and it just puts life in pro wrestling. You know what I mean? For me. I'm just like, oh, fuck, what can happen? Because you have a former WWE guy that can fucking wrestle, that's great on the mic. Because I think Dolph Ziggler right now is the best in the business. So it would be like getting CM Punk right at, to me, it would be like getting CM Punk right before he won the title from John Cena. You know what I mean? And that would have did wonders for TNA. But I wonder, like, how many people would turn their back on him and be like, Ziggler's never that good.
Yeah, it would be a lot of those people, but it also would expose some of his fan base who some people, they're real Ziggler fans. They respect what he does in the ring. They think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. And then there are some people that just like him because he's a WWE superstar. And if he left and went to New Japan, they'd be like, Dolph Ziggler, he isn't that good because he's not in the WWE anymore. So, but really, if he came to TNA, I wouldn't want to see him as the Dolph Ziggler you know him as now. I would want to see him as more of a serious character. I would like to see him as maybe.
You know what I would love to do? Huh? I would love to get a psychiatrist. Hear me out. This sounds crazy. I'd love to get a psychiatrist and find those super positive WWE shows, right? And just have a psychiatrist watch it and be like, is this Stockholm Syndrome? What is this? And, like, find out what's mentally wrong with those people. Like, I need to know. It would be interesting, wouldn't it? Now, granted, if a psychiatrist probably came here, they'd be like, Dave's a psychopath.
It's more about WWE. They're ingrained into the American culture because you got to think about it. They've been around for so long, and that's what people know as wrestling because they had periods of time where they were the only wrestling game in town. So when other wrestling games come out like ROH, New Japan, TNA, people are less willing to give them a chance because it's a threat to WWE. Anything could be a threat to WWE depending on the time. TNA can be a threat to TNA. The sponsorship, if WWE loses sponsorship and money and TNA grabs a huge sponsor, TNA is the number one company, just like that. So
you know what I also noticed about WWE defenders? We'll get back on if I can comment in a second. They all assume you've always liked WWE. Like they're like, oh, you always, they always seem like, well, you were a Hulkamaniac when you were a kid. No, I wasn't. I was an NWA Flair Horseman guy. Oh, but you love the Attitude Era. No, I like the NWO, and you know what I mean. Like, it's got to the point where like they don't even realize that there was other companies before WWE. Like, you talk to a WWE defender, and you're like, well, Vince McMahon got you Hulk Hogan. Did you like Hulk Hogan? No, I actually despised Hogan as a kid. I was a Flair Horseman guy. Well, did you like the Attitude Era? No, I was an ECW guy, an NWO guy. Well, didn't you like no. Like, there isn't this fucking history of everyone always loved WWE. And I think WWE fans, since they won the war, think that's always been the case. No, people grew up WCW fans. People grew up NWA fans. People grew up ECW fans. WWE just won. But that doesn't mean we've always loved them. You know what I mean? Like, I was debating with this one guy, and he's like, well, ain't you happy that Vince McMahon made your childhood? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I despised WWF as a kid. I was a Horseman, Dusty Rhodes. You know what I mean? And they're like, well, what about the Attitude Era? Like, no, ECW. And, you know what I mean? It just blows their fucking mind. But know what it is? It's the same thing with Dana White and WWE. People think when it comes to
mixed martial arts.
No. In mixed martial arts, yeah. Dana White and Vince have a lot in common as far as marketing goes. They have convinced the fan base there was never a history before them. They convinced the fan base that everyone has always loved them. And they convinced the fan base that, hey, if someone doesn't like it, they're wrong. They've done a great job at that. Why do you think the word smart is always brought up on podcasts? What do you mean you're smart? We're fucking talking pro wrestling on YouTube. We're smart? What? Like, let's put it this way. I used to do a radio show in Tokyo, an English-speaking radio show about world events. You know, you had people from around the world speaking different languages, translating, talking world events, throwing ideas out there. Not once did someone call themselves smart. Not once. Can you imagine that? Be like, well, I actually believe in communism because I'm smart. You like, it would just put a fucking podcast to a halt and be like, did this fucking motherfucker just say he's smart? Did this motherfucker? What? Well, I like Nintendo over PlayStation 4 because I'm smart. It's what? What? Okay, moving back to comments. LB Clash of Kings. I like that Medium Jade has a character now because I like her as a wrestler on the Indies, but never as a had a character on the Indies. And usually, just wrestling doesn't translate well on mainstream TV or wrestling show. I love the Dollhouse gimmick to its new and original. And some people say it's like the what the fuck was those? I don't know. Some people think it's not original, but I think people are gonna love and hate stuff no matter what. I love Christy Hemming in TNA. She's on creative and she's doing great booking of the knockouts. All right, well, I give Christy Hemming some credit. You know, sometimes you have to admit you're wrong. That doesn't happen a lot on YouTube. I would still fire her. I might be wrong. I'm still firing her. Lennox Wooderson says tie. I was hoping for all knockout show. Yeah, this is a big thing, but male wrestlers all over the show. The Dollhouse is awesome. I wish that they had more of a role in the show, but only in the beginning. I'm tired of Angle being champ already. It's not because of his amazing matches, but because his gimmick is so stale. I'd probably feel different if he was a heel, though. Yeah, I think that's more of the television network bullying him, and that scares me more than Angle ever could. Should TNA just become a women's promotion in Europe? They have good women's roster and do so well in Europe. I think so. I think Jeremy Borash has been pitching that for a while now. But yeah, I think they should do Europe because not only but Europe's awesome at wrestling, and Europe loves your product, and it makes you different and more of an alternative. You know what I mean? You have more of an alternative. Like you just like, oh, it's TNA, it's European wrestling, it's that. You're over. You know. I don't know. I honestly think they do. I don't know if it's all women's promotion, but I would be on board.
I want to see them move specifically to Europe. I want to see them maybe do a pay-per-view in Europe. You know, do like a Slammiversary or like a what's the other pay-per-view? Slammiversary, Lockdown.
Well, I'd like. Well, I think there's only 2 this year. But I would love to see. Yeah. I would love. Well, they're doing all the pay-per-views.
Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
Bound for Glory.
I would love to see them come back to Japan just because the tickets were crazy fucking cheap. But I heard through online connections that once again, TNA showing racism, and Wrestle One will not be working with them. Now, granted, this is from a Japanese blogger, so, but Okada in interviews have said it. Tanahashi in interviews have said it. On national television, Muda hinted at it. You know what I mean? Like little legit, like on the NBC level national television, Muda hinted at it. But I don't know. Hopefully it does to it. Shundell Hall says this show is a lost nice concept. TNA should hire Athena and some Yoshi women. I agree. Lennox Wooderson, man, this become Christy Hemme fucking Dave's an asshole for not fucking wanting to fire Christy Hemme. All right, Lennox Wooder says, in Christy Hemme's defense, she does host shows when JB isn't, and she does a great job. All right, I'm a JB guy. There, I said it. Clover Cold 89. I like the Dollhouse debut. It was different from anything in TNA and in wrestling in general. The Terran heel turn was awesome, and we'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that. Man, there's a lot of comments. Thank you guys so much. The J-Rock Freak says, I don't have a problem with the way the BDC are being booked. I'm enjoying the storyline with them and the Rising. Really? But they're never going to win. That's like the Harlem Globetrotters. That's like saying, I like the way the Generals are being booked. How are they being booked? They're being booked. What? That confuses me. Hey, dude, everyone has a thing. The J-Rock Freak.
I kind of get how they're getting booked. Like they lose, but
all the time.
Yeah, but they're a street gang. They're a street gang. Would do losses in a regulation type of thing matter to street gang?
Yes, because Lucha Underground books it well. Yes, it would matter because we're living in a kayfabe universe because they're not really a street gang, but let's live in a kayfabe universe. The kayfabe universe wins get you more money. Kayfabe universe belts get you more money. Kayfabe universe belts give you power. That sounds something like a street gang would want. At least the street gangs that I used to hang out in the rough hood of New Jersey. But yeah, no, they look dumb. No, they look like the poser street gang. That's what they look like. I lived in Florida and there was two gangs. There was a red gang, a yellow three. There was a red gang, yellow gang, and blue gang. And the red gang and yellow gang were bullshit because I like treated them like Pokemon. And they act tough and they would bully old ladies and fucking whatever. But whenever someone stood up to the yellow or blue gang, they would just yellow or red gang, they would just back the fuck off. I was like, yo, dude, not fucking yellow red gang, fucking, all right, you're lucky I don't get you this time. But the blue gang came around and everyone locked their fucking doors. They were like, oh, fuck, that's the motherfucking blue gang. They're fucking here to whoop some fucking ass. And the yellow gang and the red gang would just fucking run away. And then I'd be like, okay, that's what the Beatdown Clan needs to be. The Beatdown Clan right now is the yellow gang. Yeah, they can push an old lady, but they have no power. They have no money. They're completely fucking worthless. It's basically a treehouse club. What we need them to be is the blue gang fucking, where they just walk down the fucking street and motherfuckers shut their goddamn door and hide their kids. That's all I'm saying. They have to fucking win something. And you know what? Let's put it this way. If the Beatdown Clan were not respectable wrestlers, everyone in the world would give up on them. No one. The biggest TNA fan in the world would give up on them. If these were just four random fucking... Let's put it this way. If the Beatdown Clan was the Ascension, EC3's bodyguard, and Spike Dudley, no one would fucking give a shit. Or Spike Dudley. I'm sorry to throw in that group. I just couldn't think of anybody. But no one would give a shit. The only reason we give a shit is because they're great athletes. But, you know, being great athletes with WWE Creative running your shit, oh, well, fucking they gotta lose. 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 I mean, yeah, I love my Buccaneers. I love my Beatdown Clan. They ain't winning shit. Neither of them. Anytime soon. That's it. Yeah, I mean, what's the storyline? I mean, they're crazy, but in kayfabe universe, really? Like, that's why, like, oh, go beat up Kurt Angle. Why? Why are you going to beat up Kurt Angle? Like, I know, like, people think street gangs, like, are like, oh, we're just crazy beating people up. No! street gangs have a mission statement. They have a purpose. They beat people up for power and money. They don't beat people up for like, oh, let's go beat up Kurt Angle. No. They would fucking say they would want the title. They wouldn't want a street fight because the title in the kayfabe universe brings them money and power, and that's what they would want.
Well, there was a reason MVP sent Homicide to beat Kurt Angle up like that. It's a softening. You gotta remember MVP.
Yes, but it never works. There's something like, no, they always fucking lose. And not only that, but a softening would make sense if MVP was fighting Kurt Angle that night. When is MVP fighting Kurt Angle? When? Let me check. The top 5 ratings. Oh, no, let me expand this. The top 500 ratings. Nope, sorry, PWI. The top 1,000. Oh, he just edged out. MVP is actually 1,001 on the fucking contenders list. Well, MVP, maybe if you get one win, maybe you'll break the top 1,000 for the title. What? Who are you softening up? Why? To me, it's like, I just saw the Kevin Hart movie with Ice-T and Ice Cube. Sorry, I get my ices mixed up. And, they were fucking with him and giving him fake fucking assignments. That's what it feels like. MVP is like, hell, let's fucking get this new motherfucker and get his ass whooped by Kurt Angle. Yeah, okay. That's what it's like. That's the storyline. Okay. Why? Why would they soften him up for what? So that when he's with his lady friend later, he's like, oh man, fucking
MVP is number 4.
In the ass.
MVP is number 4 in the top 5.
Whatever. How is he even in the top 5? What the fuck rankings is this? Who did MVP beat?
He beat Austin. I think he beat Byru and Austin Aries. He hasn't had too many matches, but he's beating some of the top guys.
Oh, all I'm saying is they have to win. They have to win.
They will. Trust me, the BDC, it gets better for the BDC next week.
All right, let's go back to Lennox Wooderson. I think TNA definitely has better women's wrestlers, but NXT women's wrestling matches come off much better. Is it the booking or producing that's holding them back? Would real knockout show work under these circumstances? I think this is going to be a very unpopular opinion. Please don't dislike the video for my popular opinion because Lennox Wooderson will give a popular opinion in 10 seconds. I just think the NXT women are better. I think Awesome Kong has lost a step, and I think Gail Kim is, I think the NXT women are just better. All right. I just said something completely negative, and people are like, how dare you? Can you American Hardcore? Can you tell them why I'm wrong?
Because like NXT has some good character, but sometimes like I watch NXT, it's boring. It's like NXT they have good shows, but then it's like it's not consistent.
I disagree with you, except for the last month. I think the last month or two you might have a point. But prior to the last 2 months, going into WrestleMania, they made NXT shitty. This is my conspiracy theory, no facts. They made NXT shitty on purpose so that fucking WrestleMania could look better. Because no one wanted NXT to be better than WrestleMania. So that's my theory behind that. With that said, I don't know. NXT can be good. NXT has its moments. Go on.
It hasn't. It's just not. It's not consistent sometimes. Like sometimes NXT is like, oh my god, NXT is fucking awesome. Then like the next week you tune in, it's like, oh yeah, you got Hideo Itami facing Prince Pretty. That's a fair matchup. And really like, it's just like it's like NXT gets a lot of praise off of their pay-per-view shows, but as far as their TV shows, people try to sweep them under the rug. Like they have awesome pay-per-views and like TV shows, but sometimes they have awesome matches. Like, oh my god, it's awesome, but sometimes like.
I used to not agree with you, but I could agree with that. But here, my conspiracy theory happened. Do you think they're doing it on purpose to try to make WWE look better? Because I predicted going into WrestleMania, NXT was going to get worse, and I was right. Do you think they're making NXT look worse because they're like, holy shit, we can't have better than Raw chance every fucking week?
It's more about what NXT goes. Like, you get some awesome stuff on NXT, but then it's like, okay, that was awesome NXT. So where is Neville going? Oh, he's lost all of his character and everything like that. It's like you know it's going to be great for NXT, but it's no end game because you know it's like no ending for any NXT character because they're going to get pulled up to the main roster. So like, you want to get invested, but it's like you know where it's going to go. You want to see the WWE side before the NXT side. Although you know NXT has better wrestling, it kind of makes NXT feel meaningless in effect because everybody ends up going to the main roster. So NXT, it's just like it's a holdover. It's like the holding prison before you get into the general population.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a very good feeling because like the reason I love Lucha Underground more than NXT is at least Lucha Underground, you know, they're not going to be embarrassed at WWE for another a couple months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Lucha Underground people don't go to AAA.
Yeah, Clover Cold, and if they do, they're respected. They're on the same level.
Yeah, they keep their same character. They keep their same everything. So they are the same. They are the same people, same character.
Clover Cold 89. Since Lauren Dennis was over with the fans, should TNA sign her? I don't know much about her, but I would say yeah because they need more women on the roster. I mean, unless she's a horrible wrestler, which, for the best of my knowledge, she isn't. I would.
She's a good wrestler, but she's a better character, especially as a heel. So yeah, I would sign her. Probably, keep her off TV for a little bit, give her a gimmick or whatever. But also sign Kana. I always got to put that in there. Sign Kana. Whatever.
Yeah, well, that's next. Rain Lazy 92 said, "What other independent women's wrestler should TNA sign to the roster?" Well, I guess independent. She's really an independent, but high level independent. Kana. I think Kana, you should definitely work out a deal. You have to get there. There is something. I doubt it's Dixie Carter. I don't want to believe it's Dixie Carter, but there is something wrong with your organization that every Japanese person hates you. You know what I mean? Like, there's something wrong. I don't know. Maybe there's a middleman who's just going around being like, I'm racist, la 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 la. Or maybe you just don't know how to interact with people from different countries. But every person that leaves TNA from Japan, they do an interview in Japanese burying you. And here's the thing. You could be like, oh, it's bitter. That's very uncommon in Japan. Very uncommon in Japan. It's crazy uncommon. And, so, and not that, but Okada walks on water in Japan. You know what I mean? And when Okada throws you under the bus and straight up calls you racist, that's a problem. You know what I mean? That's a problem. So, yeah. But yeah, Kana, I thought Lufisto would be good because, she did the Tough Enough thing. And not all that, but she can do great wrestling, great hardcore. And I think when they don't pick her for Tough Enough, she has a story already built in. Yeah, I think Lufisto, Kana. You know what? There's so many great women out there, and I feel bad because I don't feel qualified to be like, oh, get this girl, this girl, just because I don't follow indie women's wrestling as much as I do. But hopefully, with the new format of the channel, I will start doing it more. But yeah, any girl that's on Shine, they can just go, just pick them up. Same thing with Stardom. I'm pretty sure, and that's the thing with Stardom. Stardom has so many great women's wrestlers. You pick up one Stardom guy, the Yoshi fans, the women wrestling fans, they go crazy because I've said this, and I think you could agree because you know more about Stardom than I do, even though I live in Tokyo. It's kind of embarrassing. Any girl on the Stardom roster could be a star on the Divas and the TNA Impact overnight if they're just not racist. I think, I'm not even main eventers. I'm straight up shoot. Any girl on the Stardom roster can be a star overnight if you just don't book her as being racist. I believe that, and I don't know. You know more about Stardom. Is there a girl that you're like, I don't know about this girl. I don't know if she can make it. But I believe I've seen Stardom live in person 3 times, and I watched 2 pay-per-views. That's kind of like my knowledge base over the last 2 years. So I'm not the most knowledgeable Stardom fan in the world. With that said, every time I go, I'm just like, all these fucking women are amazing. You know a lot more than me. Do you agree with that statement, or do you think I'm just fucking an idiot?
The only women I would think now on Stardom that couldn't make it, but not because they're wrestling, but the character, probably Sunrise Camilla, because he's sort of like a jobber, kind of, but she's still a good wrestler. So that's kind of, they could repackage her. So Momo, she's 15, but she's still a better wrestler than most women. Shit. Koguma, she's like 16 or 17, still like she could be a WWE champion right now. I mean, right now, a 16-year-old champion, it would be believable. So damn, it would be hard to say.
Yeah, and for people that don't know, professional wrestlers in Japan start very, very young. And you can actually take professional wrestling in some high schools, and you can take professional wrestling in some colleges. And it's weird because once a year they have like a college, I guess, Super Bowl of wrestling, and you'll be like, "Wow, you're an amazing wrestler! I can't wait to get signed to New Japan." And he's like, "Nope, I'm actually an astronaut." And you're just like, "No, why?" And you're like, "Man, you should be a pro wrestler." And he's like, "No, I'm actually, going to run for governor." You're such wasting your skills. Yeah, you'll see some amazing talent, and you'll be like, "Wow, I can't wait to see you in New Japan." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to New Japan." I'm like, "Noah? No. Wrestle One? No. What are you going to do?" And he's like, "Well, I'm actually going to work on the campaign of the next, prime minister." I feel like, poor bastard.
That happened to Yuri, but I think somebody said, I think in an interview, somebody said somebody tried to perv on the Stardom women in the bathroom or whatever. I don't know if it was a camera guy or somebody, but her parents took her out of Stardom. But I don't know if you remember Yuri. She was like fucking awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, they start really, really young, because my daughter, she's really good at judo, and there's been some pro wrestling schools, but I don't know if she'll do it. She's one of those like, I fucking love judo type girls. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yeah, she's been recruited a couple times already, and she's very young. Don't you dare leave the comments there, internet. Let's be respectable. All right, we'll come back to comments in a bit, or let's get one more because this one's directed towards you. Let's see. Lennox Wooderson, Alucard, do you know anything about Marty from the Dollhouse? Jade has been on TNA and NXT, but I've never seen Marty wrestle.
I've seen her in that TNA One Night Only special with Spud, and she's a very good character actress. She can flip on you at a dime. I've seen her wrestle in the Indies. She has a decent style. It's nothing that's going to get you out of your seat, but for what she does, she's a well-rounded wrestler.
All right. Let's rock this. Mickie James retirement. I thought it was a bit weird. I'm happy the fans got into it. The one more, the fans bought into it. I thought it added a lot to the Magnus character. Basically, Mickie James announces a retirement. Then James Storm comes out because her and James Storm are friends. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever been married or dating, that guy friend, you're like, nah, we're cutting that shit off. You got to cut that shit off right there. But I thought Magnus did a great job acting in this segment. Mickie James announces her retirement. James Storm mentions one more. The fans really bought into this storyline, which I think adds to it so much. When the fans buy into a storyline on television and it's not piped in crowd noise, I think it adds so much to the show, for me at least, And James Storm talks her into one more match, and Magnus is like, "What the fuck, bro? What the fuck?" I enjoyed this, but I'm gonna give props to someone that has been getting shit on by the internet. I think Josh did a great job, because the thing is, a commentary team or one man, the play-by-play guy, it's his job when a wrestling fan questions something and they're about to leave the kayfabe zone. Because as a fan, as a legit pro wrestling fan, I believe you want to be sucked into the magic. It's like when you go to David Copperfield, when you go to a movie, you know the Avengers Age of Ultron isn't real, but for that hour, you want to escape and pretend it's real. I think when it comes to pro wrestling, when you start questioning, like, hey, wait a second, this doesn't make sense, it takes the realism out and it kind of takes away from the event. But it takes a play-by-play guy to save it. And I started getting that question, like, I'm like, oh, man, I'm into this. Oh, the fans are into it. All right. And I'm like, wait a second, why would this? And even though he's getting shit on the internet, he did a great job saving this segment. The line, and I'm paraphrasing here, the line where he goes, oh, James Storm is acting like two different people when he's around Mickie James. It just, that one simple line, you're in the zone, you're on thing, and you start questioning why, and the play-by-play guy saves it. And that's what I think Stryker does so well. I think that's what Joey Styles did so well. And even though Josh is getting shit on, I think he does a great job of keeping you in the kayfabe zone. Because I don't know about you, but I'm like, why the fuck does James Storm even give a fuck? What the fuck? And you start questioning it, and once you start questioning it, the kayfabe wall starts crumbling. You know what I mean? Yeah. Never break the fourth wall. But I thought Josh did a great job of, hey, no, we're keeping the universe alive. We're keeping the storyline alive. And I know Josh gets a lot of shit, but I thought he saved this segment. Yeah, I enjoyed this segment, but I give a lot of props to Josh for saving it. And Magnus, 2014 Magnus doesn't exist. I like this Magnus, and it's the fact that he's not wrestling Bram. It makes me intrigued because I actually love Magnus when Magnus just be Magnus, bro. Don't hate the internet because no one fucking hates you on the internet. Don't make up fucking shit. Don't hashtag thanks IWC when it doesn't fucking exist. Just be fucking awesome, you piece of shit. And get rid of Bram. This, James Storm, James Storm's posse, Mickie James, the story, like, I'm fucking intrigued. I'm like, now if Magnus just wrestles like Magnus, I'm on fucking board. I thought this saved Magnus. I thought Josh saved this segment. I think, it's cool to Mickie James. And, like, there's so many question marks. I don't read spoilers. I'm like, oh, my God, is James Storm going to do this? Is this? I thought this segment saved so many people at once. It made Mickie James respectable. It made Magnus a character you can relate to, and it's giving him a brand new feud. And Josh did a great job telling a story, protecting James Storm. You know what I mean? So overall, when it comes to a segment, you can't ask for anything else. And that's one thing about this show. I gave it a weak win, but I think it saved a lot of storylines. Like, I think leaving this Impact, I go, okay, I'm excited to see these storylines. Previous to this Impact, I'm like, where the fuck are they going with this shit? So, even though I gave it a weak win, I'm going to go as far as caring about storylines and characters. It really moved a lot of people along. What was your thought on the retirement segment?
Well, it's consistency. Mickie James, she's still the same kind of cocky heel that we saw last time, because there was one line that really caught me when she said, I had a chance to wrestle all the greatest women in the wrestling business, and I beat them all, which is sort of like a throwback to one of the last line she said in TNA. I hope you break every one of your pretty faces on this ring ladder that I climbed to be the top champ, the top woman in wrestling. So that was good. Magnus being what he should be, a thinking man's smart type of wrestler, using his intelligence. He's like, okay, James Storm, where's this going? I like what you're saying, but I don't really trust it. So I'm gonna keep my guard up. And then James Storm, I don't know if you noticed this. James Storm, he came out after Mickie James was doing that heartfelt speech. He just sucked all the energy out because the crowd heard his music, like, oh shit, here comes fucking James Storm. He's a bad guy. What's he gonna do? He's gonna attack Madness, but then he started talking. And he had the whole crowd eating out the palm of his hand. Like, yeah, James Storm, we're cheering for Mickie James. We're cheering for you. Yeah. And then he coats, or what's one I'm looking for? baits Mickey James into one more match, which gets you to thinking, why? Why would he want Mickey James to wrestle one more match? It's something in it for him because he hasn't changed. He's still the same cult leader. He's still the leader of the Revolution, because of the backstage stuff and everything. What's in it for him? And then you think about it. Magnus.
Yeah.
So, and then you got to think about who's been missing from the Knockouts roster. That's still there. Who's missing? And who would
Havoc, right? Is that who you're thinking about?
Havoc. Yeah. And Havoc, what's one thing in her TNA career, what's one thing that sticks out about, her losing? She lost the calm. Yeah. So she's no longer the monster. And one rule of the Revolution, nobody can join unless they're a broken down shell themselves. So Havoc no longer is the monster of TNA. She's the second alpha female or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I said this with T-Shawn. I think James Storm is goading or baiting Mickey James to have this one match. She's not gonna know who it is. It's gonna be Havoc. Havoc's gonna join the Revolution, and either he's going to bait or hold Mickey James hostage from use Havoc to beat her up and tell Magnus, hey, you got to join us, or you got to give us that briefcase. We want that briefcase you're holding.
I have a bad memory. What briefcase does he have against her?
The tag team titles.
All right, go ahead.
I can kind of feel. I think because Havoc says she's coming back, Mickey James is her last match or whatever is going to be on that live show, and that's when Havoc's coming back. So they're going to try to bring Havoc back in this big role. They're not just going to have Havoc come back, and now unless Havoc joins the Dollhouse, which would be kind of weird. I think she's going to join.
Yeah. No, I like the idea a lot. Her in that Dollhouse would be there because, here's the thing: I saw Havoc live, and people put Havoc over like $1 million. I hope that she gets a second chance so I can see what people see in her. Yeah. And Alpha Female, that's another girl that I'm surprised didn't come back, or hopefully does come back. Alpha Female would be nice to the TNA roster again. But yeah, no, that's a really great idea. So yeah, all right, boom.
How would you feel about that? How would you feel about Havoc in the Revolution?
I wouldn't bother me any. I don't see the Revolution as oh my God, people can't join and not join. You know what I mean? So I think it's perfect, to be honest. Yeah. So hopefully it does. Now we have a singles match, which I don't think was the best singles match, but at the same time, I'm just so happy they're bringing back the X Division. I'm so happy Davey Richards still has a match. You have Dave Richards versus Manic. I apologize for the mess up there. Dave Richards versus Manic. And you know what? Dixie Carter said, oh, we're going to do she tweeted something out, and she said, hey, we're going to put Davey Richards in the X Division. We're going to have more X Division matches. And I normally don't respond to celebrities because they're fucking mentally weak. The Young Bucks made fun of this. Young Bucks sent out a tweet I'm going to search Twitter for anyone who talked bad about us and block them. And I'm just I love the Young Bucks because it's so fucking true. I just can't believe being that mentally weak. And I normally don't bother, because one cool thing is people see Twitter two different ways. Some people are like, wow, it's so awesome. You can talk to famous people. Or, oh, it's so awesome. You can talk to people around the world. I like talking to people around the world, other fans. You know what I'm saying? That's what I love Twitter. But talking to famous people, why? They're mentally fucking weak. But with that said, I actually fucking tweeted a famous person. I tweeted Davey Richards and Dixie Carter and said thank you. Just because I want to see the X Division. It's one of the best things I liked about TNA. I love Davey Richards, and if he can't be tag team champs, he could. I'm actually wearing a Davey Richards shirt right now. But if he can't be tag team champ because of injuries, I would love to see him become the X Division champ and rebuild that. He's talented enough. He has the credibility enough. It would just be absolutely awesome. And this is just a preview, and I'm hoping that it changes. Because nothing against Spud, but this is what I would hate. The X Division champ, whoever it's been, hasn't been wearing it to the ring. Hasn't given a shit about it. And give it to Davey Richards. Let Davey Richards give a shit about it and rebuild what made your company great. Anyone that's been watching TNA from day one will tell you the X Division is what made TNA great. And bring it back. Bring it back. And I think he's the perfect guy to bring it back. I mean, I just get angry, dude. There was a time, I don't know how long you've been a TNA fan. There's a time where we'd be on the radio and we would debate for hours. Was the NWA World title or the X Division title meant more? And it was a great time to be a TNA fan back then. I want that to happen again. I really do. And I think Davey Richards is the perfect candidate for that. I enjoyed the match. Basically, Richards delivers the creeping death, which looks a bit awkward, but he pulled it off pretty good. So there you go. And then after the match, the Revolution attack on Davey Richards, and the Hardys saved him. And then I don't mind this. I'm a big Hardy hater, and I'm a big Wolf lover. I'm sorry. Big Wolf lover. Context is everything. But I want this feud to fucking end. I just want Davey Richards to go for that title, and then when the American Wolves are back, have them go against the Hardys. I hope that this, we're with the Hardys and we're fighting the Revolution. I hope it ends next week. And I hope Davey Richards focuses nothing on the X Division, because to me, he is the perfect man on the roster to turn this thing around. And you need to turn it around. Your thoughts on the match and what I said about Davey Richards?
I can see. I can see him. I know this card, like you said, she was talking about him. I don't know how you feel about this. We all know this card is going to come back. Like, people are saying, like, "Oh, I don't want this card is going to come back." Just deal with that. Davey Richards plays a damn good heel. How would you feel about Davey Richards being with EC3 and Ditsy as sort of like this? I hate to say authority figure, but of course, because she owns the company, being this corporate dick heel X Division champion, who's really feeling himself. He doesn't have to start being a heel, but after a while,
I'm okay with it. It sounds like a great idea, as long as he has the title. If he doesn't have the X Division title and he's not rebuilding the brand, I drop it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm okay with it, as long as he has the X Division title. And it makes sense, because he would have to have something. You know what I mean? Colt Clover 89, we're going back to some live comments. Should they have left off the EC3 segment so the Terran match could go longer? I love the EC3 segment, and we'll get to that. I honestly believe, as far as that goes, I think the Kurt Angle segment should have been cut. I think a lot of the Kurt Angle segments, I don't know. I like the EC3 segment. I thought the Kennedy part could have been cut, but we'll talk about that next. Let's review it. We got a lot of comments, but let's just get the review out of the way so we can start hitting up comments. All right. Next is the EC3 2015 thing. And, TNA has to record their shows way in advance, so timing, WWE stealing their gimmicks and saying they're copy, and these are things you have to worry about. Spoilers, these are things you have to worry about. But they hit a home run as far as timing goes with hashtag EC3 2015, because, right now America is going to choose their next king, however that works, and there's nothing but ads about it. In Japan, I think today is voting day, so there's nothing but ads. So, they couldn't have did it better. And I love EC3. I love his speech. I love the crowd reaction. I think EC3 is a star. And EC3 2015 for champ, the presidential posters, and the tagline, "Don't worry, I'm rich," I just thought was fucking home run after home run. And I'm like, fuck yeah, he's going to be a champ. Then Mr. Anderson came along, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck is this? I went from an awesome segment to a thing. If you're going to cut anything from this show to give the women more time, I would have cut the Mr. Anderson segment. He just hit a home run, and then you went back down to Little League. You know what I mean? That's how it felt. I was like, dude, EC3's hitting a home run, and Mr. Anderson's out here. And not all that, but Tyrus holding up the sign. I don't know why Tyrus is starting to become one of my favorite fucking side characters. And I'm hoping that he becomes a right-hand man to EC3 and just loyalty, kind of like the Kingpin.
He's the scrap man to EC3 because him and Spud, as great as they work as a tag team,
they were absolutely amazing as a comedy duo.
But both of them aren't straight man. You know, in order for a good joke to work, you need a straight man and the guy who gets the punchline. Ross or Spud is a punchline. EC3 has a punchline. So it's like it's two positives working together. It doesn't work as well as Tyrus, the negative, you know, being a straight man, the stiff face henchman, with the punchliney positive EC3. That's a working battle.
I just hope it, and I don't read spoilers. People are complaining that you're giving away spoilers, by the way. I don't know if you are.
What's I haven't said anything. I haven't said anything. I just said it's going to get better for the BDC. That's all I said.
As far as you know, Tyrus, I just hope, as far as this character, I'm starting to enjoy him. That it's just the small, simple things. I just hope he's loyal. You know, because I just think it would add so much more to it. Because it's such a cheap thing to do. Oh, Tyrus turns on his rich boss. Look, it's Virgil Mania 7. I just want to see a fucking bodyguard that's loyal. And I bring this up all the time. Netflix on Daredevil told us such a great story, and I'm kind of like, you could kind of steal that storyline and add comedy to it, and it would be a great story. But yeah, I loved the EC3 segment. I thought it was one of the best segments ever. I'm very high on EC3, and I just thought the Ken Kennedy thing was like, all right, you just ruined a good segment, asshole. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna cut anything, don't cut the EC3. Cut Ken Kennedy out. That's just me. I mean, and not only that, but like Ken Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy, he could have fucking did this next week. You know, like he could have been his response. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It was just wrong. It wasn't good. Next is the match that we've been all waiting for: Awesome Kong versus Taryn Terrell. I love Awesome Kong probably more than anyone. She's just the sweetest person in the world. Great wrestler, great human being. But I'll have to admit, she's even losing a step. You know what I mean? But still, you know, has credibility and stuff. And it was a pretty decent match. Taryn Terrell is absolutely awesome. And this is where storylines are coming together. Taryn Terrell was just a cracker. Context is everything. I should stop. We should use a different terminology there. She was just a plain woman character. Okay.
Okay. She's a high quality piece of bread.
All right. I don't think that's helping her cause. It reminds me of that Reddit joke where they have all you know, different nationality foods, and then under it says crackers, and then the meme is, we like to be called white people. All right. Oh man, we just defended people. And it's such a weird place. Damon Wayans, fucking much props to him. Did you hear his interview? He's like, he's a comedian back in the day in Living Color. I think it's Damon Wayans, right? That's who it is, right? I could be wrong.
Damon Wayans is
another. But one of the Wayans brothers, I'm pretty sure it's Damon. Now I'm gonna fucking be embarrassed. But one of them did an interview with the green guy. Fucking remember, he used to be on MTV, and they were like, "What about people being offended?" And he's like, "Fuck them, fuck you. I'm just gonna say whatever I want." And like, it was so weird. I've been waiting for anyone to say that, and I just stood up on a YouTube video clip. I stood up and clapped in front of no one. But anyway, moving on back to this match. I enjoyed the match, and when the women came out, it worked perfect for me. I'm like, oh, I guess that's what they're doing with Awesome Kong. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I thought. The hook, line, and sinker. You know, WWE fans, they worked you. Yeah, but you could be worked and still be entertained. They worked me. I was entertained. And when Awesome Kong went to the rope and they started hitting her with the stick, I was like, this is fucking awesome. And first off, I know it's your first day on the job, BM, but come on, you can lay it a little harder than that. It's go watch me and him on the Indies and go watch her tonight. She was like tiptoeing through the tulips, not wanting to hurt anyone. But she whacks him with it. She goes to a table. Taryn Terrell pins her while feeling her boobies up. I'm sorry, I'm a pervert. I was like, I like this. And turns heel, and it was one of the best heel turns that I've seen in a real long time. Maybe the best heel turn since The Shield. I'm not comparing the two, so pump your brakes. But I think there hasn't been a good heel turn since then. And I enjoyed it. And not only that, but Taryn Terrell was, I'm beautiful. I'm a good wrestler. I got nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's what she was. A great wrestler, beautiful, nothing. That nothing was filled up. And when it was them dancing around, her being a psychopath, I was just like, they fixed so many problems. You know what I mean? Instantly. Brooke being the number one contender. Brooke being the number one contender makes sense. Getting past Kong makes sense. And giving Taryn Terrell character. And I think it's the best heel turn in a while. And not that, but, people will always want to be the smartest guy in the room and not want to be worked. Being worked sometimes feels good. It's being entertained. It's being shocked. And television, when you watch The Arrow, you're like, oh my God, Oliver McQueen did what? That's a good feeling. That's what you want as a wrestling fan. Don't fucking let the word smart ruin your fun. But I enjoyed this, and I thought everyone improved from this because Taryn Terrell is still champ. Taryn Terrell has character. Awesome Kong didn't lose that much. She could still be a monster. And the Dollhouse...
She should be a type of character. It can be a different role for Awesome Kong. She doesn't, she doesn't have to be the monster anymore. She can show a little bit of humanity.
Yeah, and then I enjoyed it a lot. Is there anything else you want to add, or are we going to go to the main event? Any questions?
The Terrence Terrell heel turn. I know the spoilers were out there and everything like that, but even without the spoilers, it's a simple touch that Terrence Terrell tip to let you know she was turning heel. I don't know if you noticed it. Look at her outfit compared to what she used to wear. Did you notice anything different?
No, I probably should have, but I didn't.
Like, look at one of her past matches where she wearing the gold stuff. She didn't have like the ribbon tassels all in her gear, implicating that she's a part of the Dollhouse. And then she's wearing the horse stockings with her boots and the garters underneath her wrestling gear.
All right. I see. So, go on.
And I think that's pretty much it. It was a sick triple powerbomb. I just hope for the Kong character, they do something more with the Kong character. They just don't make her into just, I'm a mad monster. They give her some mic time and bring some more layers to her character.
Yeah, but the only thing is, I think Mike Time scares me because she's the sweetest person in the world. So, you know what I mean? So we'll see. But she did do I think a comedy gimmick on the Indies or an 80s gimmick on the Indies or something. So maybe they're doing something different with her. But I love Awesome Kong, so I hope, they do something amazing with her. Next, we have, you have what I think I wish that was the end. I wish that was the main event. I wish this was before. I think the night of knockouts, they should have treated the knockouts better. But we've beat that dead horse down. In placement, too. I think Taryn Terrell and Awesome Kong and the Dollhouse deserved the last segment. But this got the last segment. Going into this, I was just like, fuck, who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck about Austin Aries. Don't give a fuck about Kurt Angle. And I think the fact that this was the ending, granted, the purist pro wrestling fan of me is like, this is bullshit. I didn't get to see a match. There's that part of me, but the part of me that the fan, the entertainment side of me is like, oh, all these characters became interesting again. I ran stale of Austin Aries. Eric Young, the last couple weeks of him being respectable to Angle is like, what the fuck is this shit? And Kurt Angle has been kind of stuck. And I think this was the perfect ending. You know what I mean? He goes and attacks, pile drives Austin Aries on the steel. It was a pile driver, right?
Yeah,
on the steel chair, which I thought was amazing. Austin
Still.
Aries sold it, and then he put Angle in the figure 4, which they've been really putting over. And I like when they put over a submission move, especially the figure 4. It reminds me of back in the days growing up. And I just thought if they just had a match in Angle 1, who would have gave a shit? You know what I mean? I think this adds so much to the storyline and depth and all that. So I enjoyed it. And it's weird because, I hated the opening segment, and the last segment I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next week. And I think maybe I should give this show a bigger win now that I broke it down. Maybe I'm just a bit of a fucking bitterness, but I think storyline-wise, leaving this show, everything is more interesting, and that's a good thing. But I thought the knockouts should have been represented more on their own show. All right, what did you think of the last segment? And then we're just going to rock questions until we give up.
Not EC, but EY. If he's not in your top 3 top heel in pro wrestling today, I think you may have mental issues. The dude is killing it as a heel, vicious, believable. If he became world heavyweight champion, you could say you can believe it. Like it's no fluke, anything. Great mic skills, and then he did something that's really gonna pay dividends in the future. He took out Austin Aries, which Austin Aries is gonna be on TV for maybe 2 to 3 months, or maybe something like that. And what's that gonna do? They're gonna get people to forget about what Austin Aries had. Hey, people already forget about the TNA briefcases as it is, but with him being on TV for a while, when Austin Aries comes back, depending on who has that title, it's going to be a surprise. So there's going to be a very good surprise cash in, and then it leads to next week, which is going to be a hell of a match. It gets you excited for that stretcher match that Kurt Angle and Eric Young are going to have. So it set up a lot of good things going on into the future. But Eric Young, gotta love Eric Young and his heel character.
Yeah. Just got to do something in real life. I apologize for the unprofessionalism. Boom, boom, boom. Someone's asking me a question that has nothing to do with TNA, so I'll just get it away. When is the time for the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight next week? It's May 2nd, 9 p.m., but most likely super late. Andy Papp says the Dollhouse, oddly enough, turns me on. Laugh my ass off. Win. All right. And boom, boom, boom. Going across the board here. Let's see. All right, let's see. Rain Lazy 92 says, good show, no bad segments. Mr. Anderson, Mr. Kennedy, but all right. And the knockout shines. Great booking of Terrence heel turn. I agree with that. And the Dollhouse was very entertaining. I agree. EC3 it needs to be world champ. What other up-and-coming talents do you have for future world champs? I'm so focused on EC3. That's it. I think EC3 should be champ. As far as up-and-coming talents, that's the problem. TNA hires too many older guys. I'm so focused on EC3. I mean, Bobby Roode. I think EC3, Bobby Roode is just pure money. Magnus, if he gets his shit together. You know what I mean? Like, Magnus he started off so shitty, then was the most improved wrestler of all time, and then just fucking lost his mind. If we get good Magnus, I think Magnus would do great too. Do you have anyone that should be next world champ besides EC3?
Gotta say Brown. That's gotta happen.
I'm not on the Brown bandwagon that much.
I'm not feeling it. In the right circumstance, MVP being that mastermind that he kind of is, if they get better booking, I can see MVP as a heavyweight champion. Eric Young.
Yeah, Eric Young wouldn't be too bad, but I don't want to pass the title around too much. Like, I would have Kurt Angle champ long enough to keep television people happy, and then I would have EC3 champ for a long ass time. I honestly believe, and I know a lot of people have strong feelings. I think the company should be built around EC3 moving forward as far as the heavyweight title goes.
Angle, he's only going to be there until probably like November or something because he signed a 1-year contract, so he's not going to be there forever. And then even EC3 wins the title, I don't know if it will be the right time this year because you got to think about Austin Aries has that briefcase. How long will EC3 be the champion? It also depends on when Austin Aries cashes in. You want EC3 to have a decent lengthy title, but Austin Aries is going to cash in. So it's that double-edged sword. So I don't want to push EC3 to the championship too early, especially when I know that Austin Aries, being who he is, the calculating mastermind, has that briefcase. And I want EC3 to have a decent title reign, not just a flash in the pan title reign.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. But it just seems like Mr. Kennedy is a waste of time for the segment and this feud. It's like, oh, we're just stalling. So
I understand why they're doing it. Like EC3,
another stepping stone.
Yeah, it's another stepping stone because EC3 has been all the TNA Hall of Famers, which wasn't by accident. They did that on purpose. But then besides that, they're good wins, but they aren't except for the Bully Ray match. Bully Ray match was fucking awesome. They aren't like notable wins. They're trying to build him up with memorable wins, like the Rockstar Spud win. That was a memorable win, but it was Rockstar Spud who was, people thought he was a joke, but he proved himself. They're going to try to build him up being established guys in decent feuds from what I can see. They're going to try to make him work hard just a little bit, because they can't make him work too hard because he's Dizzy Carter's kayfabe nephew. They want him to be a legitimate world heavyweight champion when he gets the belt.
All right. Do you think the Ryzen will add another wrestler to the stable? This is from Clover Gold 89. Yeah. I don't care either way, but sure, why not? I know it's a dick answer, but they have to really turn it around for me as a fan. Lennox Wooderson, how far have the BDC fallen since Joe's departure? Should they just split? And that's a really tough question, and I don't know. Because they're so good wrestlers, but at the same time, they're just, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's a tough call. I mean, if they, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things. How long do you root for your favorite Buccaneers football team when they keep losing? I don't know. Maybe if they split up,
they get better also when they get away from the Rising. When they stop feuding with the Rising goes on and does their own thing, it probably would get a lot better. Well, also with that.
Yeah. There you go. So let's see. Lennox Wooderson also says, what do you think of TNA talent and workers not being paid in Taz's departure? I think, money isn't the most important thing in the world. With that said, people keeping their word is. If you agree to pay someone something, you should pay them that. If you can't afford to pay them that, then you have to man up and tell them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like me, I'm kind of more hippie-ish now in my later days than I was younger. And I'm like, oh, money's not the most important thing. When I go for teaching, I'm a teacher, believe it or not. But you say bad words on YouTube. Hey, you can go teach. Go ahead, send me your resume. It's kind of like you're like, I do volunteer work, but you curse on YouTube. Well, we always need more volunteers. Oh, I see. You're just an asshole. You're not actually a good person. You just pretend to be one. Good for you. Give yourself a fucking douchebag. But as far as money goes, I'm not a money-driven person, but I am a keeping your word person. And if these people are not getting paid, you need to go somewhere else. I don't know how true it is, but I imagine it's true. Because Taz is like, TNA paid me, but I'm leaving because they didn't pay me. That's the official, oh, Taz, thank you. That makes sense. Taz is like, these fucking internet fans don't fucking know nothing. They fucking don't know why I left TNA. It wasn't overpay. It was overpay. Oh, Taz, thanks for clearing that up. Makes perfect sense. But yeah, I think you should pay people what you agreed upon. That is fucking huge.
Well, really, You know what? I agree you should pay people, but I gotta throw the bullshit flag on this one because
All right, put bullshit away.
this happens ever since like TNA got on Spike TV. This happens every year, like around the same time when TNA's doing something decent. Always the same story: undetermined people, unnamed people. We're not getting paid. You're under a contract. You're not getting paid, but no lawsuits have come out. And I've seen Chris Daniels do a story about we didn't get our paychecks on time. You didn't
Yeah,
sue.
but if getting it out on time is hard to sue someone, it's because you also have to pay your lawyer fees. You have to go. Not getting paid at all and lying to people, that's a lawsuit. I don't think that they're not getting paid. I just think it's getting paid late. And with lawyer fees, it's kind of a dick move because it's not worth it. You know, like it's like one of those, I'm going to pay my lawyer fees as soon as you pay me. And when you pay me, you know what I mean? It's a never-ending story. But,
yeah, but it seems like YWC makes a bigger deal when it's TNA because WWE stars have come out and said, "Hey, I haven't gotten paid all the time too," and YWC like, "Oh, you're not John Cena. Fuck you. You should be lucky you're working with WWE when you're TNA. Oh my God, your paycheck was late by 2 hours. Oh my God, you need to leave the company." And it's always like they can never give you a source. They can never give you anything concrete about it. I mean, after 5 or 10 years in the same story written the same way, you're kind of making yourself look stupid by printing the same story, and you're not reporting the company doing the same thing in other companies. You're kind of showing your bias.
Yeah, but TNA handles it pretty shitty. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to pick on Havoc. Havoc, step away from the computer. Step away from the computer. Never give your opinion about anything ever again. Because I didn't give a shit. Like, my stance is, hey, it's not all about the money, but it's about keeping your word. If they're not fucking paying you, if it's true, you know, I'm not saying it is or not. If it is true, you shouldn't work for them. You know what I mean? And if you are a company, we're going with the rumors are true. If you are a company and you can't afford someone, you have to man up as a company and tell them. You know, maybe you adjust contracts, maybe you do this, maybe you have to go, you know. So, okay, but even if it's not true, let's go with that. Havoc, step away from the computer. Never fucking ever, if you're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to rant about something, and then as soon as you type it up, just delete it. Do not make that public, because let me tell you something, you're a fucking idiot. Because this was my opinion. You know, TNA, this is my thoughts on it. Ready? Here it goes. I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to give you a live reaction. TNA people ain't getting paid. That sucks. I wonder if it's true. This person said he's not getting paid. Well, if they're not getting paid, I hope that fucking, you know, they're working something out. I hope, you know, it works out. You know, you have to keep your word, you know, along that line. Then I'm like, here's Havoc. She's going to give us an inside scoop. I just read it. Fuck you, Havoc. I fucking hate you, and I hope you never get paid again, you fucking piece of shit. I don't think that was the reaction she wanted me to have. I'm pretty sure what she typed. Well, because, like, she started off like, fucking internet stupid, sources, blah, blah, blah. Dude, first off, anyone that reacts that way, they're fucking full of shit. You can ask anyone who's ever interrogated someone. When they start acting like that, they're full of shit. And maybe she's not full of shit. But let me tell you, in a lawsuit, in a cop, they would fucking arrest you. Because you're like, she's definitely guilty. You know how, like, example, you got to break it down to everyday people. Because sometimes people worship these wrestlers more than they should. All right, me and American a la carte, we're partnered. We work at, not partners, but we work in the same company, okay? We work in cubicles. We just know each other. Someone comes by and like, American a la carte said he's going to punch you in the back of the fucking head. Everyone heard it. It's a rumor. Really? Yeah, and then afterwards, he's going to fucking have his way with you. But holy shit, I don't know what I did with American a la carte. And I go to American a la carte's cubicle. I'm like, excuse me, sir, do you have some time? And you're like, well, yes. And I'm like, I heard a rumor that you're going to punch me in the back of the head later today and have your way with me. And the reaction for someone who's telling the truth of a story goes, no, that's stupid, Dave. They're just fucking with you. I'm not going to punch you in the back of the head and have your way with you. That's normal reaction. That's how you know someone's telling the truth, or they're a better liar than fucking Havoc. The wrong answer is fuck them, fuck you don't know jack shit. Like, this motherfucker's gonna punch me in the back of the head later. It's just know how to fucking handle it. Like, I'm tired of going on social media, realizing how mentally weak a lot of these pro wrestlers are.
But I think it speaks to a bigger problem of internet, the wrestling media. Like, I would say, like,
That's not fair, because TMZ. I think it's bullshit. I think you're making excuses. I think they think they're athletes. I think they think they're celebrities. I think they think they're Hollywood. And the reality is they don't have enough thick skin for that. Think about it. Who's so crazy in Hollywood? Tom Cruise. Can we agree? Can we all agree Tom Cruise is kind of batshit insane? I mean, I think we can all agree. I mean, I don't know. If someone in the comments says, I think Tom Cruise is a stand-up guy, hey, more power to you. But I think most people see Tom Cruise as crazy. How do you think Tom Cruise handles this question? Hey, on Mission Impossible 9, I heard you didn't get paid your full pay. How do you think he handles that question? He's not handling it like Havoc did. You now go to an athlete. Hey, I heard the Buccaneers ain't paying your salary. Because they either tell the truth or lie a million times better than she did. No one, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird because, like, the way Havoc acted, and I hate to pick on Havoc, but there's other wrestlers that act just as bad. The way they acted, if she was a sports athlete or a Hollywood star, which she's a combination of, you would be on every headline for being a fucking idiot. Every headline. And if an athlete did that rant, can you imagine? Let's just pick A-Rod. A-Rod does that rant. You're a fucking idiot. Now imagine Tom Cruise does that rant. You're an idiot. But once again, what's the poison that wrestling fucking strives on? I'm the smartest guy in the room. No, you have to call people out for being fucking idiots. I call myself out on it all the time. Like, hey, dude, I'm an idiot. Sorry. Fucking messed up. Fucking, you have to be mentally strong. A lot of these people are mentally weak. And they're like, oh, the internet reporters. I mean, no one in Hollywood has to deal with that. Really? Really? No one in Hollywood has to deal with that? Oh, the internet. No athlete has. Really? No. They have thick skin. They are professional. They know how to handle themselves. Maybe you should too.
Well, I think it's like I said, the internet, the wrestling media, most of them, I'm gonna say 95% of them make up bullshit. And
yeah, I can see.
For most of them, Dave Meltzer, all them, they make a living off lying. They don't have legitimate sources. They don't have anything to go. Like, they can just.
Well, there's a double-edged sword. You're absolutely right, but there's also this part of the sword. It's not. They could change it at the last minute.
But they,
you know what I mean. So it's hard. Well, some things they do. You know what I mean. They could change. They could change the news. They could change. Well, there's two things. Like, I agree with you, but we also have to. If you're going to throw Meltzer under the bus, you also have to defend Meltzer. You know what I mean. You have to be right down the middle. You're absolutely right. Does he make up bullshit, spread it, blah, blah, blah? Yes, without a doubt. Has he been wrong? Without a doubt. But also, look at his side of the house. Ready? He has to get people that will never give up their names for sources. Wrestlers love to lie. Roddy Piper said it best. When you're in the ring, you're working. When you're outside the ring, you're just a cunt. I'm paraphrasing. You're a fucking liar. You're not working anyone. You're just a piece of shit. So you have a bunch of pieces of shit. Even Roddy Piper fucking agrees with that. And the third thing is you're trying, especially WWE. TNA might be a little bit easier because spoilers. Lucha Underground might be a little bit easier spoilers. But WWE, you're ran by a fucking cokehead, allegedly, and he fucking changes his mind every 5 fucking seconds. And that's what you have to report on? So, like, yeah, he probably lies, but he also probably gets lied to, and it's also something they can change. You know, like, a lot of times, I bet you a lot of this leaked information is to see how the internet reacts. So, like, they're like, hey, Melts, fucking say this, you know, that's my source. And, like, okay, he writes it, and then if the internet fucking, how they react is kind of like a preview. So, I think, I agree and also disagree.
it's the same story at the same time every year. I can see if this happened like once every 5 years or once, or every blue or whatever. This happens at the same, like I said, at the same time every year. It's like they're trying to beat this into people's consciousness that TNA doesn't have money to pay wrestlers, which Kurt Angle has been there for 10 years almost. He's making over.
Yeah, but they're not the people they're ripping off. I got to play devil's advocate here. They're not going to rip off a Kurt Angle because Kurt Angle's going to walk. They're ripping off, the Christopher Daniels of the world. They're ripping off, hey, you know what I mean? They're ripping off the Manics. They're ripping off the Havocs. So, yeah, they're going to pay those guys. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. But go on.
But even with the Manics and stuff, they say they're going to, what incentive do they have to get for line? Because they're not going to get a pay raise. They get pay raises off of, drawing money. What, Havoc saying, I'm tired of internet fans lying and trying to count my money. She's not wrong for saying, you want
to. Yeah, she is. No. This is why she's wrong. You fucking don't know how to be a celebrity. You don't know how to have thick skin. Once again, you're defending it because you love wrestling, and I'm not saying that, but any Hollywood actor does this, everyone throws them under the bus. Any athlete does this, everyone throws them under the bus. It's time we hold wrestlers to a standard of humans and not gods.
I would just
even if it's true, it's bullshit. And the reason why is because they think it's a secret. They think, oh, you're so smart, and people buy into it. And that's good. But you still have to, it's kind of like with Roman Reigns. Oh, people just hate me. That's why. No, they hate their lives. That's why they hate me. That's insane that those words come out of your mouth and no one corrects you. It's insane. It's bizarro world. It's just fucking insane. And the fact that Havoc says this shit and people don't fucking no, you're a fucking psychopath, bitch. You don't fucking know how to fucking answer anything blows my mind. And but this is the line. This is the line that fucking bugs the living shit out of me, and this is why I know she's mentally weak. And if you disagree with me or say nasty comments, I'm gonna block you. What the fuck, you mentally weak fucking midget? It's just, come on, dude. And I want to root for her. Just step away from the keyboard. You obviously are not a good person. You're not a good person.
I just wish we had more legitimate wrestling report. I want to be taken more seriously at ESPN. If you report something and it's a lie, you should automatically be fired. Or
no, because here's the problem. They can change it. Now, in newspapers, they get lied all the time, and I got a degree. This is what you need. And it's weird because it's a weird fucking thing, but in newspapers, like the rule of thumb, and granted, no one fucking follows this anymore. In media, the rule of thumb is you can't run a story unless you have two sources and they're willing to be named. That was kind of like old school. Nowadays, it's just make up a source. The fuck doesn't matter. Just, you know what I mean? I think Rolling Stone or Time Magazine, one of them got in trouble for a rape story because they only used one source. Yeah, it's kind of like an unwritten rule. Actually, it's a written rule somewhere. But you need two sources that you can name. You can't have an unnamed source. That's the way it's supposed to be. You can have an unnamed source, but it doesn't hold as much credibility, and you can also get lawsuits and all that. But here's the problem. In pro wrestling, they kayfabe the outside world and ruin their shows by fucking breaking kayfabe. So, I don't know. It's a tough gig to have, and everyone just holds it different. My rule of thumb when it comes to internet wrestling, if I think it's awesome, most likely isn't true. If I think it's absolutely horrible, you have a higher percentage of that being true. That's it. And then I'm not just, ask the athletes, but then why would they tell you? These are the correct answers. You ready? Here, do PR. Ready? Here's the correct answers. I don't want to talk about that. Ding! Correct answer. Second answer, no comment. Ding! Third answer, tell the truth. Fourth answer, that is not true. That is it. You don't have to insult anyone. You don't have to block anyone. You know how much powerful a message would have been, Havoc, if you're like, oh, people keep asking me if I got paid. I do get paid. When it comes to me, that is not true. See, right there, when it comes to me, that is not true. You're like, oh, that's believable. It hasn't happened to me. See, meaning like I'm not calling anyone a liar. I could just speak for myself. Ooh, that speaks truth. Third is, that's how you fucking answer a question. As soon as you're like, fucking internet, sources, fuck you, I'm gonna block you, I just assume you're full of shit. Like, I could care less if they get paid. Like, there's a part of me that says, hey, dude, whatever you agreed on, make sure you get that, because that's just a man thing. But outside of that, no, fucking, I don't give a shit if they work for fucking free. That's none of my goddamn business. But no, it is my business. But like, I'm intrigued. Oh, she has a comment. Everyone's a fucking idiot, and if you disagree with me, I'll block you. I just assume whatever you're defending is a lie. Because I've been in the military. I've worked in the media. I know when fucking people are lying. That bitch is fucking lying. That bitch is lying. Period. It's fucking every tale, like every, like if you handed that, go to a real detective. I was about to say a cop, but there's some really bad cops. Go to a real detective, hand them that, and be like, what is the percentage of that person lying? Go to a fucking news editor, hand them that, be like, what's the percentage of that person lying? They would say high 90%. High 90% that person is lying. It has every tale, every sign of a liar. Every sign. Every. She goes on the attack. Everyone's an idiot. If you disagree with me, I'm gonna block you. I don't care, but I just wrote 4 fucking pages. Everything about it. Now, maybe she's just dumb. That's a possibility. Maybe everything she told was true. But you do not look like you're telling the truth. And you're not helping anything. I'm guys trying to call it right down the middle. Be like, hey, dude, I don't fucking know. Make sure you get paid. Good luck, guys. You know, that's my attitude. But I read that, like, this bitch is fucking lying. And fucking, she's an idiot. Can you imagine? And people do this. Tweet me anything. I ain't gonna fucking block you. Fucking write anything in the comments. The only time I block you is if you attack someone, like, out of pure hatred, or if you keep repeating the same message over and over and over, or if you don't speak English and you're like, "This isn't the real TNA," then I block you because there's no helping you. Because I kid you not, I used to send those people the links. I used to send those people how to speak English. I used to like go out of my way. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna help because I was in the hospital a lot often when I first started this show. I'm like, there's some really dumb people. I'm gonna help them. But now I don't even bother. I just block them because they're pirates that don't know any better. I mean, my thing is, if you're coming to YouTube, this is my opinion. Watch this. Watch what I'm going to do here. You're going to like this. If you're coming to YouTube looking for illegal content, you're a fucking idiot that don't know how to pirate. And if you disagree with me, I'm going to block you. I'm giving myself a Barry Horowitz for fucking being a cocksucker. Moving on. Let's see. Lennox Wooderson, Dolph Ziggler shows up. Dolph Ziggler shows up at TNA, and we know what's going to happen. He'll fight the main heel faction and win the belt and join the main heel faction, and swept across one bigger star like Orton owes up. Rinse and repeat for any WWE mid-carder. Dolph shows up to New Japan or Ring of Honor, possibly both, and I lose my mind just thinking of the amazing matches. All right. Lennox Wooderson says, what do you think of Alberto turning down lucrative TNA contract because he thinks the company is a career killer? I mean, everyone has to make their own decisions. I could see, because not only that, but it could be a career killer if he wants to go back to WWE, but it doesn't sound like he wants to go back to WWE. I don't know.
He's going to show back up. He's going to show up in TNA. It's the fact that he had to, do some obligations to AAA. AAA is the one that got him out of the WWE contract. And plus, I guess
not only that, but like TNA, I think would do self favors and I think they are doing a little bit because now you can work pay-per-views and be under TNA contract. That was something that passed down according to the internet. If TNA stopped acting like they were WWE and started acting like they were TNA and worked with people, I think they would get a lot more talent. Because I think Ring of Honor gets talent. I think Lucha Underground gets talent. I think New Japan gets talent. I think a lot of these people get talent. because they're so willing to go, from there.
They also want Alberto Del Rio under a just them contract, which is kind of weird because I think he's the only guy they would have given that contract to, and he would have been making the same thing he was making in WWE. I know it's weird, guys. Yeah, he was only making like what $600K. They would offer him a $600K contract in TNA, but he wanted to, like I said, fulfill obligation to AAA and also work other events. So I think in time he's probably going to come back to TNA. It's inevitable. You can't turn down that kind of money, and I doubt it.
And TNA is going to be in the AAA World Cup, I think. So if that's the case, I think that's when stuff's going to turn around. But know what TNA has to do? They have to stop listening to WWE people and be like, no, we have to work together. The fact that, they burnt New Japan, they burnt Ring of Honor, they burnt, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go around burning people. It's one of those, it catches up to you, especially when you're not number one. The J-Rock Freak says, I have tried to watch NXT, but when I do, to me, it feels like Raw 2.0 most of the time with just a little more solid wrestling. I watch one of their pay-per-views and don't watch around WrestleMania season. I think NXT is really good. NXT is boring sometimes, but knockouts are better. They do cage, ladder, gauntlet, hardcore matches. NXT women only see singles, tags, fatal four-ways, wrestling three-way matches. That's true. I'm pretty sure TNA is teasing doing the first ever Knockouts Ultimate X match because I think the Knockouts could pull it off. I don't know. I'd be very scared. I'd definitely watch, but I'd be very scared. Pull it off, obviously they could pull it off, but would it be good? You know what I mean? Yeah. Total Nonstop Action says, what's up? What's up, sir? Carlos Saldana says TNA should sign Candice LeRae or Leva Bates from the Indies or Cheerleader Melissa. I think Cheerleader Melissa is not available. And Leva Bates, she's got a thing going with Blue Pants, so I don't know what that is. But I think Leva Bates would be amazing down in Florida. So you got some great things. Total Nonstop Action. You guys doing a Manny Pacquiao versus timeout. Manny versus Floyd stream. I don't know. Because streaming is bad. I don't know. We'll find out. Clover Cold 89 says they filmed this episode a month ago, so fans in the crowd didn't see the Dollhouse promos. They did it the last few weeks, and it's also Orlando, not exactly the best wrestling fans. Yes, yeah. Orlando's problem is, and I'm kind of serious about this because I lived in Tampa and Orlando area for a very long time. Orlando just has too much shit to do. And to get to TNA, you have to wait in line a lot. So, there's just shit to do. I think Orlando is a bad place to fucking be. I mean, NXT crowds are really hot. They're really exciting. But I don't know how it was to get to this TV taping, but I imagine it's like any other TV taping. When TNA ran the Impact Zone, you literally had to wait in line for 3 to 4 hours, and that was with an MVP pass bullshit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. The fact that they run in Universal Studios and Universal Studios treats it like a television taping. All I'm saying is don't pick on the Orlando crowd too much because I know how long they have to wait to get into that building. And I'm a pretty passionate fan. And yeah, I sat on my fucking hands. I'm like, bitch, I've been in line for 6 fucking hours. Entertain me. I ain't fucking clapping for shit. So, and Orlando also has so much entertainment. So you're like, do you want to go to Universal? You want to go to Disney? You want to do this, do that, do that? You want to fly to the moon on a spaceship? You can do that all in Orlando. Okay, some of that's not true, but Orlando has every form of entertainment ever. They're like, oh, you want to wait in line for TNA for 6 hours? Yeah, those people are going to fucking be like, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? It was hard. Total Nonstop Action was the one. Stop spoiling shit, Alucard. Carlos Saldana says, so Dave, who's going to be the TNA heavyweight champ first? Galloway, EC3, Davey Richards. I see him winning the X Division tonight and cashing in for a heavyweight title this year. Eddie Edwards or Manic, both same as Davey or James Storm. I think it has to be EC3. I just got to the point now, EC3 is just hitting home run after home run, and if it's not EC3, people, I don't know. I'll lose my shit. Clover Cold 89 says the Taryn heel turn was one of the best heel turns I've seen in a long time. Just awesome. I can agree with that. Total Nonstop Action said Gunner. Yeah, I used to be a Gunner hater, but me and him, both in the Marines, same job, Semper Fi. So I hated how Gunner appeared on the scene. That was just me. But yeah, I could see. I could see Jesse got his repackaged as TNA World Champ and even main eventer. Possibility. He's really improved. That drop kick fucking really opened my eyes to him. Like a couple weeks ago, he just did an amazing drop kick. I'm like, holy fuck, he's been practiced. You know what I mean? So I could see that. Yeah, I'd like to see more of him before I give him my stamp of approval. But that drop kick really opened my eyes to him being an athlete. Carlos says there is some TNA talent working on Evolve and House of Hardcore. So TNA let their talent work anywhere they want. I would if I was running it. I'd have them work anywhere they want and try to, build bridges and stuff. That's me, but that's not everybody. But with that said, yeah, there's some talent. Yeah. What I've read is you can work pay-per-views, you can't work Ring of Honor, and you can't work television. I think that's what TNA is doing for them. And I just think you should protect your talent, but let it get out there. You're not as big as you think you are. And you could be a lot bigger if you worked for something. Because could you imagine, dude, right now, close your eyes. Tanahashi versus, EC3. Okada versus the Wolves. You know what I mean? Like how excited we are for the Ring of Honor New Japan show. TNA could be happy. TNA could have been that. All right. And I think that's it, sir. I'm going to sweep the comments. But why I sweep the comments and we wrap up this show, this is a lot longer show. I was like, hey, I'm going to do – thank you for being there. I've been in a big rut of thank you, American a la carte, for being here because I've been in a rut as far as podcasting goes. And also thank you so much for the live comments. I'm going to probably change up the way we do the shows next week just to try something new and fresh. If it fails, we'll go back to it. American a la carte, why sweep for the last second comments? Tell people where they can find you.
On YouTube, The American a la carte, TheAmericanAucard. And you can also find me on Facebook with Sean Scott. Yeah. So I guess Facebook changed my name to the real name. So yeah, I got to.
Did they force you to do that, or did you do that on your own?
Forced. I was forced to do that. So I'm not really worried about it, Sean Scott. And then on Twitter, you can find me at The American a la carte. So it all goes together. It's all come together.
All right, awesome. Just go check it out. Yeah, because I'm thinking about getting a pen name or stuff because, I kid you not, I'm so happy I have the jobs I do have, the schools I have. I'm happy I got a good reputation because, YouTube is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be relaxing. Do you know I had 2 people literally contact the schools I worked for because I took time off for health, saying that I shouldn't be a teacher because I curse on YouTube? That's crazy. That is just crazy. And I'm sure if I wasn't as good of a teacher of the year, by the way, haters. I never used the word haters. It felt silly coming out of my mouth. Teacher of the year. People went on because I use my real name for everything. I just don't care. There is definitely a benefit for using a pen name. I assure you. And even my pen name is the shortest. It's like, oh, what's your pen name? Dave Coco. Like, but is Dave Coco David Kokotis? Yes, it is. The pen name doesn't work. But yeah, I just find it to be crazy. And that
reminds me of a story that happened on YouTube on the what people have deemed the crumb side of YouTube. There was this guy, and the whole console war, Xbox One fanboy versus PlayStation fanboys. The Xbox fanboys are looking like complete idiots right now. This Xbox fanboy, he was talking about his Kinect and how it worked and blah, 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 blah. The PlayStation fanboy, he exposed him and made him look very stupid on his video. And then he flagged the guy's video. And then the Xbox fanboy who flagged the video got the guy's information because he counterclaimed the PlayStation guy counterclaimed the thing. He called the PlayStation guy's job, and the PlayStation guy, he's a military guy. He works on a base. I don't know. Yeah. He called it and got him in trouble with his superior officers over a YouTube video where he looked stupid and said he was quote unquote bullying him, but he was the one that was bullying the other guy.
This is a sad world we live in, brother. Yeah. Sad world. I'm just lucky I'm pretty okay in life that shit doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? I'm very lucky. But some people ain't so lucky, you know, and it's just horrible. I mean, if you don't like something, don't watch. Like people all the time, like, oh, what do you think about this guy? I don't watch him. That's it. That's what I think about him. You know, like some people get into YouTube drama and stuff. If I don't like you, I just eliminate you from my life. But some people take it a step farther. I mean, and not that, but if you're that motivated, I wish it was for a better cause. I wish it was just for a better cause. You know what I mean? Last question of the night. LB Clash of Kings. Who's future TNA top guys you see when Angle, Hardys, etc. I guess leave? And who do you guys? All right, who are the future top guys? All right, I'm gonna add a couple words here. LB Clash of Kings because I don't know what you're asking. Who do you see as the top guys when Angle and Hardys and all of them leave? And do you see the guys putting them over? That's one thing Dixie Carter and TNA's got going. If your name's not Hulk Hogan, on your way out, you kind of really put people over. I mean, Sting put people over. Bully Ray put people over to an extent. You know what I mean? So even Samoa Joe. So, yeah, I could see Kurt Angle and the Hardys putting people over. I really can. As far as the Angle EC3, I think that's the only one. And it's the only one that even matters. You know what I mean to me. As far as the tag goes, the Wolves, maybe build up someone else. I don't know. I'm gonna look at the TNA roster because I'm not really feeling the future right now. Who would I go? Impact roster. Maybe we should do a push fire buried segment with TNA.
You got to update the roster. That's one thing I kind of hate about TNA. They don't update their website page. Good.
Yeah, I think Robbie E could be a high mid Carter. Magnus, if he just stops being 2000, just be Magnus. Come on, Magnus. Kenny King. I think Kenny King's amazing. They just don't think he's amazing. Jesse Gordez, am I saying that right? Godarez. I think he could be a Miz/Magnus type where we talk about how much he improves. Ethan Carter III, Eric Young. I don't know Eric Young's, but he could still have a long career ahead of him. The American Wolves, and then possibly Bram because everyone and their mother is high on Bram but me. So there you go. Yeah, TNA, as far as the future goes, is kind of interesting. I think right now they just in survival mode, win-win-win type mode. And Tahir Javid and all those other guys on Facebook, thank you so much for liking us. All right, so please check out The American a la carte. Follow me on Twitter at KocoSports. Like, comment, subscribe. We try to do at least one video a day. Next week, we're going to try to change some things just because I've been in a bit of a rut. American a la carte, thank you for getting me out of my TNA rut. Live commenters, thank you for being part of our community. I just, trying to do a show every day, it can wear at you at times. You know what I mean? And the last week, it was a hard week to get through as far as podcasting goes. So I feel this show lifted my spirits up a little bit. Tomorrow's podcast, where I review the pay-per-view for WWE, might bring me back down in the dumps. But fighting the good fight. Thank you, Internet of Truth. Thank you, American a la carte. Like, comment, subscribe, both of us. We're still working on the secret project. Maybe 2-3 months from now we'll launch it, but doing it little by little. All right. And tomorrow, if you're in Central Florida, please check out Brawl USA. They are doing a small indie event, and the money goes to Hurt Veterans, and it's from James Legend, a guy that I did radio with, and he was my right-hand man when I used to promote shows. And, you know, a lot of companies say they're for 8-year-olds, but this is really family-friendly, and the money really goes to charity. It's not one of those 10%, 3%. No, James Legend just says, hey, here you go. Here's your money. You know what I mean? So please go out there. And the show's free. The show's free. All they ask for is donations for wounded veterans. So please check out Brawl USA. You can look them up on Facebook, Twitter, all that. And if you're in the Central Florida area, please support those who support us. All right. American a la carte, thank you very much. And with that, I am over.